anniversary to Frank Skinner. Our gift to you is an extra 7 hours of work. This is 10 Hours of Frank on Absolute Radio.
So, yes, this is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I am with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website. So the show is 10 years old. We've already had a reprimand, I think.
Have we?
We have, I'm afraid. It is to do with the oppressive 12ths, which we're very strict about normally, Frank.
Yes. I think we might even... I don't know how to... We got a clip, I think.
Well, okay.
Coincidentally, because this just came in.
This...
Okay, listen. This should. Sorry about this. This should explain. So this is when this idea first came up on the show. Okay. So when would this have been? Do we know?
This was
no, said the
July
producer.
2014.
July 2014. I'm sorry to go straight into a clip. We weren't expecting this, but as we've had this reprimand, listen in.
Yeah.
It's not an early start by the working person standards, but we have to start the show at 8. We get here about 7. Mm-hmm. What time do you set your alarm for on a Saturday morning usually?
5:45.
6 or 6:05, depending.
Me? 6:03. Because it's recently struck me, why do I have to be a slave to the tyrannical 12th? Every morning it gives me that feeling that I'm a bit of a different thinking guy. Now, the thing with that is I always thought it was the oppressive 12th. That's what I've come to... But the tyrannical 12th is much better.
Yeah,
the idea is the 12th, obviously, is that people always split things into 5 minutes. So they'll say, I'll see you at 20:15, 20 past.
Exactly. And
seldom does someone make an arrangement for 13 past.
No.
You're right.
So Dylan Hubble, the reprimand, he says, how, I repeat, how the Dickens... can you, of all people, be paying homage to the oppressive decimals? I'll tune in for 9 hours and 42 minutes.
Yes, what we should have done is celebrated our 9th or 11th anniversary.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
It's too late now.
We've got the balloons now.
We've got the balloons.
We've got the balloons. We've got
I've got it's our tin anniversary.
Tin?
Yeah,
oh,
10 years is tin.
Right. Yeah,
so,
it's a rubbish anniversary tin.
Can you imagine? So a husband turning up with a tin brooch.
I'll tell you what I don't like about the tin anniversary. Isn't the 10th anniversary the tin anniversary? Because tin sounds a bit like 10.
Yes.
I mean, is that the best they've got? Will it be our lemon anniversary next year? I think you've got to have something that feels somehow significant, not just vaguely sounds a bit like it. Having said that...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was in Reading last week.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And
what are you doing there? Oh, one of your shows.
Well, we got friends that live there first and foremost. But as I was in the town centre and we were walking past the museum, I remembered that they have a copy of the Bayeux.
Fake Bayeux tapestry.
Fake Bayeux.
Oh.
The Bayeux tribute.
I know it well.
And
faux Bayeux.
But while I was in there looking at the what would you call it, proxy Bayeux?
Yeah. I like that.
I noticed there was a tin exhibition, and I thought, well, it's our tin.
Don't tell me you went.
Anniversary. Of course, I went.
Who goes to the tin exhibition?
Well,
he's like a method comedian. It's like the Robert De Niro of comedy. He's got a tin coming up. He goes to a tin exhibition.
Yeah. Even De Niro wouldn't go that far.
Well, it's better than putting on 3 stone.
I'll do anything, Marty. I'll do anything, but I'm not going to the tin exhibition in Reading.
My worst things is when very beautiful actresses make themselves look really ugly for a part. Mm-hmm. And they think, look what I've done, I'm so brave. Whereas ugly actresses all over America are thinking, I could have done that.
And so many men don't even have to. Mm. Anyway, as you were.
Exactly. Well, the men do it as well, though.
I know.
Men ugly themselves up when all the ugly actors who don't get much work as it is.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
No.
I don't think so.
Meanwhile,
anyway,
over at the Reading Tin exhibition...
Yeah, so it turns out that Huntley and Palmer's
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
was housed, they used to make biscuits, I believe.
All right.
They were housed in Reading. Consequently, there's an enormous tin depository there.
Oh, is there?
So, yeah, there's a massive exhibition of tins of all kinds.
Well, was it good? Sounds good.
Of all kinds from Huntley and Palmer's.
Oh, okay. Did you like the exhibition?
Well, I'd say there was a thing. They had a Lone Ranger tin. Now, I was a big fan of the Lone Ranger TV series. It used the William Tell Overture, as you may recall, as its theme, which I used to play commonly on the fingers and thumbs. Do you know that? And
Excellent.
there was a picture of the Lone Ranger on this tin, and I thought, oh, brilliant, 1961 it was from. And it said, the Lone Ranger and Tonto. Now, Tonto was the Native American right-hand man of the Lone Ranger.
Oh, I thought that was the horse.
Well, so did the people from Reading Museum. Now, you know, it's a bit of the worst possible faux pas that your average white person can make. If he mistakes, say, one Native American for another Native American,
Right.
it's a pretty bad. But to mistake one for a horse,
It gets worse, yeah.
it was pretty bad. So it says here is the Lone Ranger and Tonto. And I was looking, I thought, is that him behind the cactus? No. I'm afraid they've got... so it should have been Silver, which was the name of the horse.
Yes.
Oh.
Two of his brothers, I think, currently play for Man City.
Lovely.
Very good.
Lovely.
They probably didn't want to mention Silver at the Tin Museum, did they?
No, of course. It was that old rivalry. I should have seen that.
Celebrating 10 years of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with 10 hours of Frank.
Absolute Radio.
Speaking of Tonto...
The Reddington exhibition.
Yeah. Tonto, did I ever tell you I saw Glenn Campbell live?
Did you?
Once. And he's brilliant live. There was... he plays amazing guitar. He shows home movies. He played the bagpipes.
Shut up, movie.
Sounds like some student I once went out with.
I'll tell you one of the things.
Plays guitar, makes you watch home movies.
Glenn Campbell was also a fan of the Lone Ranger TV series. And he, as soon as he got a few bob, he got a white horse, got himself a perfect Lone Ranger outfit, and found Jay Silverheels, who was the Native American who played Tonto, and said, will you come and film with me? I want to recreate some Lone Ranger stuff. And he showed this clip while he played the William Tell Overture on his guitar.
Brilliant.
But they had a Jay Silverheels by then was in his 70s, and I think hadn't worked much after the Lone Ranger. And there was a great shot of him on horseback, looking like holding on for grim life. This 70-year-old bloke in his old outfit, with the feather sticking out the headband. And he's got real, what we used to call rouge, what I call the blusher now.
Oh, yes.
He's got two circles of blusher, like Una Stubbs in Wurzel Gummit, exactly.
Yes.
With him holding it, his lips are really puckered in sort of fear and also not trying to look less terrible. It's a great moment.
Oh, Frank, I've just worked out then. This is an idiotic eureka moment for me, because is that why the song is Hi-Ho Silver?
Hi-Ho Silver Lining, yes.
Oh, I've never known that. Oh,
Yes,
it's a
I
Lone
should say.
Ranger reference.
In case you're new to the show, the idiotic eureka moments are things you realise much later than everyone. Yes, the reason it's Hi-Ho Silver Lining is it's a pun on, obviously, a silver lining is a good thing. And Hi-Ho Silver, which is what the Lone Ranger used to say at the beginning of his Hi-Ho Silver, away, is what he used to actually say. And the horse used to go, all right. Right next to you.
No need to shout, man.
Yeah.
Do all the voices, don't
I
you?
should say that this particular show this morning, which is normally 3 hours, is going to be 6 hours.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to do 3 hours.
Now you tell me.
I'm then going to carry on into 3 hours of rock and roll football with the two Matts.
Oh, yeah, the Twa Mats.
Yeah.
Good.
Well, Welcome and Bath.
Yeah. Very good.
as I like to call them. And then
we should get some shirts printed for that.
And then I do an hour with Andy Bush.
Brilliant.
Lovely.
Which
worth two in the hand.
Thus making it, I've heard that, thus making it up to 10 hours.
Well, actually, we've had an email discussing this exact point. Dear Frank, DME and the Cockerel, recently when I visited my elderly mother in Huddersfield, I set off when the show starts at 8 and I'm usually pulling onto her drive when the show finishes at 11. It does make the journey fly by. That's nice, thank you. I've worked out that if I'm going to drive for the length of Frank's broadcasting this week, I will need to drive to Aviemore in Scotland, which should take about 10 hours.
We'll take the old girl skiing. It's all perfect, isn't it?
It's lined up.
Yeah, I would do
and
that.
Aviemore sounds like a nice spot to go to.
Yeah, and they love a couple of sticks, the elderly.
They do.
That's when they're most at home. Yeah, so I would
smile
do
on her
that.
face. Take her to Aviemore.
Or you could pick her up.
Lovely.
Why not pick her up and bring her back for a weekend at your home?
Yeah, pick her up and podcast it
Yeah.
and then listen to it all again on the way home.
No, but you can listen. Just pick her up.
see.
She can be waiting at the door, jump in, and then drive back, listening to the rest of the show.
That's a good idea.
I've actually put a photo of the tin, the Lone Ranger tin, on
Have you?
our
Have you?
Is it Instagram? It's on.
We'll put it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh,
You've
that
changed,
sounds
haven't you? You've
lovely.
changed. You're so
Just 'cause
social media ready
people might
these
think
days.
I've made. Well, Pixar, it didn't happen.
Well, do you know what I like? It's Frank.
I repeat,
when
you've
people
changed.
say that, Frank,
Yeah.
they mean that time they met a Kardashian, maybe.
Yeah.
They don't mean a
saw a
Lone
biscuit
Ranger biscuit tin.
No, I find a lot of people now shout it during the Bible readings at Mass. And thank God for the Renaissance artists. That's all I can say. There was another tin. Have you ever heard of a... I've got to tell you one more tin anecdote. It is our tin anniversary.
Please, I mean, I could listen to them all morning.
There's a tin
got no
design-
choice.
There's a Victorian artist called Kate Greenaway. Have you ever heard of her? Yeah, I knew Emily would. I bet you probably had one on your wall.
I
as a
think we
child.
might have, yes.
She, one of her designs is one of the tin, and it's a tin there, a round tin. And if you look closely at it, it seems probably not her, but a rogue artist who worked at the tin lid factory has put in a couple of how can I put it, physical moments in the background.
Oh,
You
I
are
see.
joking.
Now they're not completely graphic, but they're fairly
Oh, okay.
apparent.
So this is
PG.
why
So I
you...
might put that on Instagram.
Yeah.
You can see if you can spot them.
Okay, Al. Now I'm starting to realise why you went to the old tin exhibition.
Come on! Yes. Well, I haven't told you about the faux Bayeux, yeah? Can you imagine how good that was? No, can you? 8, 12, 15.
Absolute Radio presents 10 hours of Frank Skinner. He only came to Absolute Radio on a 3-month contract, and 10 years later, he still won't sign it. Happy 10th anniversary, Frank, from Absolute Radio.
Can I just say we've got a correzione very early on, Frank?
Another one.
No. Sorry, that was Laurie McMenemy impression. Keeping it topical here on Absolute Radio. Even if a 10-year anniversary show, Laurie McMenemy does not qualify as a topic. I'll just briefly fill you in that Paul Gascoigne, I won't say what, Paul Gascoigne was asked if he had a message, I think, for the Norwegian fans. And he gave a message which, let's say, it was inappropriate. And Laurie McMenemy, the assistant manager of England, was passing it. He had heard the response and went, oh, no.
And maybe you could Google and find out what that
You can
particular Paul
probably
Gascoigne
guess.
message was.
You can
I mean,
probably guess, you know.
I think we can imagine
Short
it
and
was.
sweet.
The content was medieval.
Have you got a message for the people of Norway? It was only going to go one way.
Yeah, we've got a correzione so early on our special day.
Do you want me to hit the...
The person responsible
yes.
for the error is the cockerel, I'm afraid.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, no.
I can believe it. What have I done?
How did you pronounce the
popular skiing resort of Scotland?
Oh, I think I said Aviemore and it's Aviemore, didn't I? Is it? Have I got it wrong?
Well, dear Frank, dear me, and Alan, congratulations, well done on your 10th anniversary. I'm sorry to write in on your day of celebration with a correzione, but Aviemore is pronounced Aviemore. I know Alan is more of a son of Yorkshire than Scotland.
Not true.
Oh, you sound like Macbeth. That
Not
sounds
true.
very... But even so, with his Scottish lineage, I thought he'd have known.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I would have known, but I was reading off a screen and I'm under pressure.
Under pressure?
Yeah, exactly.
And someone else wrote in and said, have we got another Descartes on our hands?
I think so.
Okay.
You know what? I mean, I happen to know it was Aviemore, but I thought today of all days, I'm going to let it pass. But obviously not everyone else has my benevolence.
I know.
That's right.
I was prepared to be magnanimous, as they say.
Yeah.
Who would you say was the most magnanimous TV presenter of all time?
Magnus Magnuson.
Magnanimous. Obviously.
10 years of the Frank Skinner Show means nothing really. It's just an arbitrary number we humans have assigned to our own perception of time. But we're trying to make something of it. As a result, you're listening to 10 hours of Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
We've actually had a communication that I think is quite interesting. You know, you were discussing the tin exhibition.
Took 10 years.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you were discussing the tin exhibition you went to in Reading. 848 has said that's why Reading Football Club are known as the Biscuit Men.
Of course.
Because they had the biscuit factory there, presumably. That's Ben Hernbay who says happy birthday.
Ben
I mean,
Hur.
it's a bit of a pedantic point, but it's not technically a birthday, it's an anniversary, really.
Well, it's the show's birthday.
I know.
Come on.
Make a little
It's the
insight
show's-
into what it's like being married to the cockerel there.
It's the
It's not
show's
technically
anniversary.
a birthday, is
It
it?
was anniversary, actually.
Here's your tin tankard, love.
Yes.
Imagine someone got you a tankard. I'd walk.
So yeah,
I've been given a tankard as a gift in the past.
Have you?
Yeah.
one thing I was a bit concerned about
Yeah.
was
Being thrown off air after 10 hours of broadcasting.
actually I'll tell you this later. The reason I say is that it's, last night I went to bed fairly early because I thought it's going to be a long day tomorrow, 10 hours on the radio. So I went and I have a 6-year-old son called Boz. New readers might not know. So I went to kiss him goodnight, and he said to me, "So it's your 10-hour show tomorrow?" I said, "That's right, yeah." He said, "Is your show the most important show on Absolute Radio?" I said, "Yes." No, I'm sorry to all my colleagues, but you know, it's that you weren't there. And he said, "What's the next most important show?" I said, "Well, way back after us." And I won't say what I said was second, but he said to me, "There's one thing though I don't understand." He said, "Why do you never play We Are the Champions?"
Oh.
And I said, "Well, you know, we do play." He said, "No, you never play." You know, he's a Mad Queen fan.
Well, he made me play that in the car the other day.
Yeah, but I went to bed and I thought, I realised that the first question was a setup for the second question. Because what he was getting at is because, in a way, we are the champions.
I'll speak for yourself.
Right.
Well, I mean, can I say again that, I'm not, this is, obviously I'm not totally sincere that we're the most important show, but when you're talking to a small child late at night and trying to get him to sleep,
Well, one has to agree.
it's no good me going on about, Dave Berry and Jason Manford. It's filling his head with too much stuff, and all our other fabulous presenters. So I realised that it was a request based on the fact that in his mind, based on, in fact, my information, that we are the champions.
Yeah.
Oh, Buzz.
It was a lovely moment. Anyway.
Have you taken Buzz?
Oh, God, I wonder what you were going to ask me. Have you taken?
Oh, yeah, but a long time ago. I suspect Buzz is a little young for the movie Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, I think it might. I haven't seen it, but I suspect there might be swearing and drug references. And as you know, on Absolute Radio, we disapprove of all those.
I've got to say, it never stopped my parents. In fact, that was an incentive. Mm-hmm. But I saw it recently.
Was there swearing and drugs references?
Yes.
Okay. I was right.
I would say it's not... Yeah, I would say in a few years, maybe. Maybe leave it 6 months for Buzz. But I liked it, don't get me wrong, in the way that I love a biopic. It was great. But...
Favourite ever biopic?
Well...
Oh, it's a tough one.
I mean, am I allowed to include Henry VIII?
Certainly.
Which was... Okay. I've got to think about that.
Okay, we can come back to it.
I love a biopic. They're the best, aren't they? But this one, I think what I struggle with a bit is when they throw in, and perhaps someone can come up with a good sort of word for this, because I don't know what you'd call it, but it's when they refer to something that we know already. So, for example, in the Freddie Mercury, they'll say, you can't call a band Queen.
Oh, yeah.
Or he's always on that piano.
All right,
yeah. Or it's the Leonardo da Vinci biopic. Oh, he's mad. He thinks one day men will fly. Machines.
Exactly. And I just can't get around those things.
No, yes. I think you have to avoid that.
Yes, that is the sound of a ukulele, which means this must be 10 hours of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Can I say Oh, by the way, I think I'd be voting for Pride of the Yankees, which is about...
Oh, for your favourite biopic?
About Lou Gehrig. Do you know Lou Gehrig, who died of...
Oh, yes.
Who died of Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yes.
Oh.
Which is a bit of a coincidence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gary Cooper as Lou Gehrig. Very emotional. It'd be up there. I'm not saying it's here, but it's up there. Do you think that we are the champions and we will rock you? There seem to be songs that are written in order to get royalties from BBC sports compilations.
Indeed.
Yeah. Greatest love of all.
Yeah.
Hero.
Let me entertain you.
Yes.
Mariah's Hero. Come on. I mean, that was built for the podium.
Yeah, True Colours, I have to say, I didn't see coming as a BBC Sports compilation back up, but it did become quite a popular one. But I do think some people watch those and think, you know what, that's what we should write, a BBC Sports compilation.
Well, you say some people, M people watch that.
Yeah.
Search for the Hero.
Oh,
that's taken off.
Good shout.
It's one of those, you don't need the words. You just need the slight, like when a dog cries. That's where the emotion is. Oh, man. I'm crying now. There's no words. I don't know what you're saying.
There are no words. You're right.
Do you ever look for the hero inside yourself?
No.
Occasionally.
No, I can't be bothered.
I just wish mine had shut up. He's always going on at me.
I had a dodgy coffee once and I had to go into hospital and they looked for the Nero inside. Rubbish. I'm sorry, I'll take that.
Don't put yourself
Come on, it's my anniversary.
Don't put yourself down. You've got 9 hours to go.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking I might get blind drunk.
Oh, no.
Oh, I heard a thing. I'll tell you in a minute. I mean, on professional broadcasting. I'll tell you in a minute.
Happy 10th anniversary to Frank Skinner. Our gift to you is an extra 7 hours of work. This is 10 Hours of Frank on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. How's about... No, you can't do that.
We've had... I mean, we're getting pulled up a lot this morning.
Yeah.
I'm pretending that never happened. This is from Jespo.
Jespo?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a portmanteau name for her and a partner.
I'm guessing it's like Bojo. I'm guessing that...
is she with a Boris, maybe?
I know. I think her surname will begin with Bo.
Okay.
That's what my view is.
I believe I sent him as Heegers.
Oh.
Jespo Heegers.
Well, that's all wrong then. Yeah.
Well, as were we, according to Jespo.
Oh, were we?
When...
Oh, no.
What's she got to say? What's she coming in with a correction this time? Come on. Let's have it
You
out.
sound so like a sort of irate manager in the lower leagues doing a post-match interview. Oh, what's she got to... Were we?
Yeah.
Were we then? Jespo says this. We were talking about the Queen, I'm going to say movie for now earlier, Frank.
Yes.
She says, when did we stop saying, is it biopic?
Biopic.
Like biography, and
Oh,
start saying biopic, like biodegradable.
That's-
Up with which I will not put. Hashtag English language butchers.
Well,
Strong work on
what-
up with which I will not put.
What say you, Frank Skinner?
well, I have always said biopic. I certainly never said biopic because biopic to me is too similar to myopic. And it sounds like someone who looks with both eyes. Biopic.
The thing is,
Yes.
I'm worried that I say biopic because of you, and given some of your other extraordinary pronunciations,
How dare you?
Star
Birthday.
Wars,
Oh, Stephen
Birthday.
Gerrard.
Henry Winkler,
Winkler was fun.
I'm concerned that you've taken us down a strange cul-de-sac.
Mispronunciation.
Well,
cul-de-sac.
honestly, I'm sure biopic
Population
is an ophthalmic term.
Is it?
Oh, someone swallowed a dictionary
Yeah.
for breakfast.
And also pic. You want to get the word pic for picture, whereas biopic sort of lose it a bit. I'm sorry. I'm not sure, Jespo.
Okay, if
I'm
we
with
have a
Jespo.
language expert listening, or someone who's deals with phonetics, or just someone clever.
I think we've got three in here, haven't we?
I once watched a biopic of. I'm
Please
going to stick
contact
with
us.
it. A biopic of Christopher Columbus, where I think it was Errol Flynn was playing Columbus, and there's a bit where he comes out of his cabin and say, "So any of you guys see land?" I just loved it.
There was a Van Gogh. No, I'm just teasing you, Van Gogh. A biopic.
Oh yes.
And I remember him coming out, I think it might have been Kirk Douglas, because he came running out into the wheat fields, of course.
Yes.
And he came out and he said, I just want to paint.
Yeah. I think it was Kirk Douglas,
Yes.
in fact. And it was called... Was it called The Agony and the Ecstasy? Oh, no, I think that's Michelangelo.
Yes.
Anyway...
But he did say in the wheat fields, I just want to paint. And I'm not sure that happened.
Do you remember the old...
I was going to say pick so it didn't happen, but we've got
I
to
think
pick.
that's a bit of a spoiler alert.
Do you remember?
Hasn't
Oi.
seen it.
Do you remember
He
the
ends
old
up
joke?
painting.
Sorry, when Frank wants attention, he's got so desperate, he said, oi.
Oi.
He
Did
actually
you
said,
say
oi.
oi to me?
He was so desperate for attention, Alan.
It's not even... It's an old joke. Do you remember it? Where... No, that's from the joke, that. It's, oi, Van Gogh, do you want a pint? And he says, no, it's all right, I've got one here. Oh, it was a very fine old joke, I always thought.
Celebrating 10 years of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with 10 hours of Frank.
Absolute Radio.
We've actually had a text from Nugget, who I would say was a regular contributor over the decade. Hi, Frank. Was Three Lions not written to be rolled out at every major football championship England participate in? Kind regards, Nugget.
I think that's a reference to people writing songs for BBC Sports Clips compilation.
Yeah, your montage.
Yeah, but we were commissioned by the Football Association to write that song. It's a bit...
Here we go.
different.
So it wasn't cynically done to get...
No.
Right, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen it used for a sports
In
compilation.
fact, you had to play it. It was very official to Terry Venables. Terry
Indeed.
Venables? Terry Venables.
Is this...
Who...
Venable, they call him in
Yeah,
France.
Venables, Terry Venables. And what did he say when he heard it, Frank?
He said it was a real key tapper. And he tapped his car keys to it as it played. So I think that's what he meant. But it's a great summary.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you what, because I'm doing our second 3 hours today, 4, 5 and 6 hours, would have been Sarah Champion. So I was a bit worried about that politically, that we hadn't upset Sarah. So I had a look at her Twitter feed. And
bit creepy.
And she did tweet about it, and she said, turns out I've got the day off tomorrow. And I thought, I don't like the sound of turns out.
Oh, no.
I was worried about that. But I felt better when I saw that they'd done a mock-up of the Blade Runner, the new Blade. What's it called? 2049, is it called? Anyway, then
I don't watch films like that.
I know, but I do.
I know.
I should know what it is. Anyway, it's the new Blade Runner. They've done a mock-up of that with Absolute presenters.
Oh.
Now, if you're going to do that,
in it?
who are you going to have for Harrison Ford? The bedraggled, old, slightly crumbling Harrison Ford. It's going to be. Anyway, we're not in it.
Oh,
so I felt better about the whole thing.
All right.
It's good. It looks good. We're not in it.
But you're not in it. Right.
You know, it's fine.
Oh, dear.
No, I'm just saying it's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Someone's just
if anyone wants to do a mock-up of a film poster with us in out there, people who can do that kind of thing, love to see one. What are you thinking, on Golden Pond?
The Three Stooges.
I'm not getting Andy Zaltzman in at this stage.
We've had a text. Morning, Frallum. So sorry to be Mr. Pernickety on your special day, but how to say words. I believe the cockerel did just say mispronunciation. Cul-de-sac, which, in my humble opinion, should be mispronunciation. Yeah, I think I was doing it on purpose to...
Come on, we can't be picking us up on these things.
When people say emphasis.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I think I was...
he was doing it on purpose.
I think I was trolling you in a teasing way.
No, I
mean, we can't be. Come on, you can't be too
Mission
pedantic.
accomplished.
I had someone pick me up on Twitter the other day. No, I don't mean that sort of pick me up.
Oh, thank goodness.
Legend.
I'm not one of those lurkers. But someone picked me up because I referred to the game I've Never and said, I think you mean I have never.
Oh.
I mean, come on.
What game? Is that like I've Never Seen Star Wars?
Yes, and I said I've never.
Was that a game before I've Never Seen Star Wars?
Yes, of course it was.
You say, of course.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I can honestly say I have never heard of it.
Well, that's weird, because I thought I'd played it with you, because I played it with David Baddiel many times.
Oh, well,
back in the early 90s.
I thought Marcus Brigstock had invented that with I've Never Seen Star Wars.
No, Never Have I Ever, the game is called.
Is it? Well,
never have I ever.
I believe it's a drinking game.
I never.
Never have I ever heard
it's a
of this
drinking game. Well, that's why you haven't played it with me.
Yeah. Okay.
I never knew that.
Never have I ever known that.
Yeah.
There
So
you
I'm
go.
trying to think of something I've never done now, but we don't have all day.
Well, I can tell you...
Well, hold on, we do have all day.
Well, David Baddiel had some interesting things, but none of the ones I can think of at the moment are I can...
Broadcast?
No.
Oh,
or as Neil
what?
Warnock said in a post-match interview, really, principal on Sky Media.
Oh, did you say Neil Warlock?
Warnock!
That would have been a
We should call him Warlock.
Freudian
Warnock.
slip. If you had to pick a Premier League manager who was
We should
involved
call
in
him
witchcraft, he would be
Yes,
my
he
first.
would be. He's got the
he'd be my
brows.
first bet. I can see him in a cowl.
We should rechristen him Warlock. I'm going to do it.
Neil Warlock as well sounds like a thing that you'd say.
Oh, yeah.
Like a command.
Oh, yes.
I'm not saying he's a Satanist. I'm saying he might be a white witch or wizard, but I can see him involved with local people in the Cardiff area in some sort of witchcraft and sorcery.
You know those people because you identify them. They've just got the eyebrows slightly too high. They'll be walking in a civilian clothes and I'll look at them and I think you're involved possibly in witchcraft or something a bit funny.
You reckon?
This could be a brilliant start to a major series of novels for children. Oh, I think someone's already... Oh, no. What if Laurie McMenemy had said that about being pipped to the post by J.K. Rowling on the Harry Potter franchise?
Yes, that is the sound of a ukulele, which means this must be 10 hours of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I've been sent a picture of Neil Warlock.
Oh, yeah.
Have you?
With his eyebrows being set slightly too high, presented without comment. But someone has said our Absolute Radio colleague Pete Donaldson has already coined Neil Warlock.
Oh, I see. Okay. But I bet he didn't go into the whole thing about him being involved in witchcraft in Cardiff. He might have. But no, fair enough. We can't use that again then.
Can we discuss someone else who has a birthday?
Respect
today, please, or this week.
Can I tell you about the faux bayeux?
Oh,
yes. Do you want to tell us a little
You're
story?
In Reading.
It's a long story.
I like a long story.
The bayeux tapestry. It's a long story. Come on.
So it's a.
Thank you, Faye. It was late.
Big respect.
I find with young people, if you press them on it, they will laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms
Let me rephrase that.
Can laugh on
Don't
command.
use that as a trailer.
Goodness me.
That was Faye's CV.
Oh,
Can laugh on command.
In terms of
She got
stafter, as Frank once memorably called it on this show, Frank, would you just care to concisely sum up what stafter is?
It's when people who are being paid to work on the show laugh
Exactly.
at our jokes.
Yes.
Obviously,
They don't
mainly
stay
mine.
long if they don't.
No. I think Faye's pushed it to the limit.
Do you think so?
I think she smiles at our jokes, which on radio is worthless.
Well, there you go. She's learning.
There you go.
So the Bayer 2.0.
Yeah, the bayeux. What happens in the Victorian times? Do you remember Mike Reed, who we used to see regularly on a Saturday morning before this show, because he worked for Magic FM?
Oh, I'd completely forgotten that.
A very nice chap.
That's showbiz.
Very nice chap.
He used to walk in, I think, from Paddington.
Tennis shoes, yeah.
He used to wear shorts and trainers, and
When he walked in, so you know.
He walked from Paddington, kept him trim, I think.
But
save money as well.
I remember him. I remember he had a bit of bad luck with an Oscar Wilde musical that ran for one night. And I wrote a terribly terribly reviewed play for Edinburgh. So we've all had our theatrical disasters. But he said, he said people are judging this, which was true. He said, Dickens.
Was it a biopic?
It was a muse.
Okay.
Biomuse.
So I'm just wondering.
Bioplay.
Okay. I'm just
Or was
wondering.
it a bioplay?
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like one of those yogurts that sorts your gut out.
But anyway, there was a quote from Mike, and I found him to be a very nice bloke. I never mentioned this quote to him, and he said, "Yeah, but Charles Dickens wasn't appreciated in his day, and now we call those times, Dickensian London and stuff."
Yeah.
I thought there are two major problems with this. One, Charles Dickens was absolutely massive in his day.
Yeah.
I mean,
Probably
he was
the
a
most
superstar.
Celebrated novelist of the era.
And Mike Reed's a literary man. I can't believe he didn't know. And the other thing was that there was a suggestion that this period, sometime in the future, would be called Reedian England. And I thought that was pushing it, I have to say.
But who knows what tomorrow brings, to be fair.
But you know what? I did love pop quiz.
Oh, so did I. But I didn't see the importance of being earnest. I'm just worried if it was going down the biopic route, Frank, that there was. I hope there wasn't a character.
The importance of being earnest.
Yes.
And that play did do well.
No,
Oh, right.
I know, but if he referenced it in the Oscar Wilde.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Well, exactly, but what did he do? Did he have a character saying, well, it's very important to be earnest, Oscar? And then he went, it's given me an idea.
And then Oscar said, hold on, where's my handbag? And the bloke went, oh, no. And then he said, I'm writing that down. He said, you always do, Oscar, you always do. And then he left. It was one of the last really happy times he had. Good night.
Celebrating 10 years of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with 10 hours of Frank.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, Lust for Life was the Van Gogh film. Agony and Ecstasy was Michelangelo. That's from France.
I did say
in
Agony
Surrey.
and Ecstasy
You
was
did.
Michelangelo, to be
Yes,
fair. But
okay.
yeah, Lost for Life, of course it was. They used that for it. They didn't.
Did they?
Did it?
They didn't.
They didn't. It's one of his funny fibs.
It was my plan
that is funny fibs.
today to celebrate our anniversary. I was going to see if there was a song called 10 Years. I couldn't find one. It's 10 years after the band and stuff like that, but they wanted to do the song. So I thought we could play David Bowie's 5 Years twice.
Oh, yeah.
Lovely.
Of course, it was scuppered by the no repeat guarantee.
What a mistake it's
the best laid plans of mice and men.
Yeah.
I suppose if you're talking about the fake bio-tapestry or bio-tapestry 2.0, does that...
Is it bio-tapestry or biotapestry? I've had a biotapestry this week, and I must say, I'm much more regular.
You do look well.
You have one of those cameras.
But if
I love a biotapestry.
If we talk about it again, does that contravene the no repeat guarantee?
I think that's all right. It's not, strictly speaking, a tapestry. It's one thing I learned.
That's a good point.
It's an embroidery.
It is.
Oh, you're right.
So some Victorian ladies.
There's a very handsome man on the biotapestry I spotted.
Oh, is that right?
There's some lovely fellas on there.
Because I think you guys have talked about the Bayeux tapestry before, on a week when I was away.
Yeah.
Because it was announced it was going to come to... Macron
Big news.
said the Bayeux tapestry was going to come to...
He said it might, yeah.
I think it is coming.
Do you reckon?
I think, yes. It's they're rolling it up as we speak.
Oh,
I like the way bloodshed is depicted, which is always in a nice way.
Is it? Is it quite PG?
PG.
Well, there was a bit... these Victorian women who did it, I have to say, did a brilliant job on it. It's great. I'd recommend the Reading trip. It's like seeing a tribute band. You know,
sometimes better.
It looks the same, and there's none of the pressure on it. It's free.
Yes.
Right.
No big queues.
There'd be a lot less queuing.
Are you suggesting it's... Sorry, Al.
I suppose the whole thing is a big queue, though, in a way, isn't it?
Well,
yeah.
As you look
I know
at
what you
it,
mean.
You're effectively...
They're not all facing in the same direction, though, and I hate that in the queue. There is one bloke pushing his bag along the floor with his foot, which was one of my favourite queue behaviour.
I'm guilty of that.
It's been ruined by the wheels on luggage thing, of course.
Oh.
I like the idea that it's like the tribute, but it's the sort of an oasis of
It
the
is.
embroidery world.
Yeah, I don't know what would be... That could be 8, 12, 15. What should the tribute by her tapestry be called? It should have one of those punning names.
Yes.
Like we've all heard the great punning names of the band. No Ace has been a very good...
Bjorn Again, I was never convinced on, if I'm honest.
Well.
Convinced by... Well, it's to do with one of the band members, but...
I think it's a generic Swedish name, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
My favourite was Shania Twin. But some of them have... I always fancied Proxy Music. I don't know if it was ever used, but I thought that would be a great
idea.
great one. But the Bio Tapestry, considering it as a tribute band, which it is in a way, what should it be called? 8, 12, 15...
Happy 10th anniversary to Frank Skinner. Our gift to you is an extra 7 hours of work. This is 10 Hours of Frank on Absolute Radio.
By your standards, this is quite a straightforward texting that we've gone for. You've gone for pick a kind of parody name, I suppose it is, isn't it? For like a bio tapestry tribute.
As if it is a bio tapestry.
That's easy for you to say.
The bio.
No, what you've got to say, which they would say on certain TV shows, is, "Oh, sorry, put my teeth back in."
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, something like that. I wash my mouth and I can't do a thing with it, or something like that.
Well, 953 has... sorry, go on.
No, they say something about fuddling up their work.
Oh yes, yeah.
Wow.
Remember when you used to spit on people accidentally and they'd say you can spray that again?
Say it,
Anyone
don't
still
spray
say
it.
that?
I bet there are people.
I think say it, don't spray it is funny though.
And if you turn your away from people, they say nice to see you back.
I mean, I've said before, very few things in life will make me laugh as much as... do you remember you used to have actual posters on the tube on the way down? rather
On
than
the way
the
down
sort
the
of,
escalator.
rather than the LED thing.
Yeah.
And some wags would occasionally put chewing gum to look like sort of snot or a moustache on a beautiful model. I mean,
we don't mean Colleen Rooney, by the way.
Just funny.
No.
I just mean somebody being pranky.
Yes.
Anyway, 953 has sent a suggestion for the bio tapestry. In true English tradition, how about Bio McBio face? Has that been used for something else?
Very fine. Very fine.
I've also got our
the bio tapestry.
Well, also, is it Bayeux or
it is a bio.
Bayeux. 936. This is Jeff. De Bayeux tapestry. De Bayeux.
De
I don't get it.
De means two in French.
No, I knew that. I just didn't get it.
Bayeux.
The second Bayeux.
Oh, like Bayeux 2.0.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so it was quite bad you didn't get it.
De means
Shouldn't
two.
it be Bayeux de? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so.
984, Al. Morning all. I'm not sure about the tapestry, but I once saw an advert for Rich Clifford and the Saddos. I thought I'd share that with you. That's from Rob the Tyler. He's one of our regulars.
Oh,
So that is very fine.
How about the Brian travesty, the real English translation?
What does that mean?
Don't know.
And not even I'm going to leap in with a French translation at this point. By faux tapestry. They all sound a little unwieldy.
At the moment,
At this stage.
maybe I've asked too much.
Déjà Bayeux?
Bayeux City Rollers? Now you're being silly.
Déjà Bieux.
Deja Bayou.
This is good. This is a good radio.
Yeah,
I think it is.
Come on. We're allowed a bit of this.
Put this in the awards clip, will you?
10 hours. We're allowed a bit of this, aren't we?
This is 4 a.m. at the telethon, isn't it?
It'll all be like this. I should think by the time I'm with Andy Bush, I'll be saying, I'll tell you something I've always regretted, Andy. I haven't been an easy man to work with.
Yes, that is the sound of a ukulele, which means this must be 10 hours of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
Frank, before we continue, would you please inform the listeners the effort I've gone to sartorially today?
Oh, yeah.
To honour you.
Yes, and there's a very wonderful moment when Emily always enters, and like an upside-down cake, she's always very well turned out. And
Can that go on my Twitter bio? Make a note of that, please.
she always does arrive looking, I mean, she no longer works in the fashion industry, but you wouldn't know it. And today she came in, and I thought, because it's the 10th anniversary, I was expecting something spectacular. And she's actually wearing a TARDIS-themed hooded top.
It says public box, public call.
Yeah.
And what I would say, I likened it to Sandy at the end of Greece. I came over to your side.
Oh, yes.
To show my love and respect for you.
I was going to say, I don't remember telling you that story.
You also said that you really liked it and you thought you might get into it.
Yes, and the reason I said
it was
something.
a very funny idea that you might get into sci-fi television because of the fashion.
Well, I might get into it, and then I said something that I'm not very proud of about why I like the fashion, which was that I just feel that the kind of person that perhaps normally wears the sci-fi fashion might not have the hair blow dried or makeup or anything like that. Because it might be the man maybe living with his parents.
Oh, come on.
You think putting that hoodie on maybe the end of the effort they make about their appearance? The start and the end.
I think that used to be true of Doctor Who fans, but after 55 years, most of their parents have died.
At least they got the house.
No, come on.
I'm joking.
Can I say some of the nicest people I've ever met are Doctor Who
I would
fans.
agree with that. And there's one in this studio.
And I got to... Oh, thank you, darling. I have to fess up that I did say I've never smelt a Doctor Who top that smelled so nice. But I include my own. I think I have actually that self-same...
We know that's not true because... to mark the anniversary, I'd also like to reveal on this show something I revealed, I'd say about 5 years ago. what your partner Kathy Mason said to me early doors of your relationship.
Oh, yes.
She said, the thing I like about Frank, he's absolutely immaculate.
Yes. She said it's one of the reasons she stayed with me is I was very clean.
He's spotless,
Always
apparently.
makes me feel like the Beatles' Hard Day's Night film. They repeatedly say he's a very clean old man. About Wilfrid Bramble.
Of Wilfrid Bramble,
Yeah,
who was arrested for importuning in a lavatory. Of course.
Absolute
We've
radio,
all had
everyone.
nights like that.
Absolute
Yeah.
radio.
No, but the brilliant thing was that the lavatory
still gonna talk about
became a comedy club. So I always felt I was in part of
In fact,
a brilliant
where
tradition.
I worked with you when we first met.
I
Still
think that's
talking about
correct.
the
Just about.
lavatory incident.
Sorry.
And why not?
Oh, Barry Norman.
We've got several.
Don't leave me, Harold.
We've got several.
That was my segue back to the bio tapestry. Somebody leaning over him holding
Strong
the
way.
arrow. Don't leave me, Harold. Harold, what's that in your eye?
Of course, the millennials are going to have to Google a lot of this.
A lot, yeah.
They're confused this morning.
yeah.
What are these people talking about?
They presumably are doing all right with the bio tapestry bit, but the steptoe and son references,
that's
I think, maybe a bit.
The Gen Zers won't be up till 2.
Oh, come on.
161 has suggested liar tapestry.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Okay.
Not sure?
No. Glenn
Well,
has
it's
got
not
a...
the true tapestry, so...
No, I know, but...
Come on.
Glenn... I
Yeah.
think Glenn has everything to play for here because he has gone for, or she, Sham 66.
Now that is excellent.
Do you like that?
Yeah, I was just wondering if Glenn could be a she. I was distracted by the
Glenn
setup.
Close.
Glenn Close.
You're right.
Okay.
You're right. Take it
Yeah.
back.
No, that's really very good.
Yeah.
Shams.
Yeah.
I think we'll settle for that.
I
as
think
the
that's
winner.
our-
Shams.
You're
that's
happy
our
with
winner,
that?
yeah.
So you don't want
What's the
any of the
prize
runners
again?
and riders.
What's the prize,
Oh
Sarah?
no, I'm happy to hear the runners and riders if there's other richness.
Yeah.
Um,
What's the prize?
by him tapestry.
The prize is us.
Oh, it's by women though, that's the problem. It could be called the by her tapestry, HER.
Ah, yeah.
Can you take that quote out? It's by women, though, that's the problem. And just separate it. See how that goes in the media. Okay.
Well, I've been taken out of context.
Mr. Skinner.
Oh! Yeah, that's Sham. I think by her because it's by women is good. But that was
Yes.
me, really.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I cleaned that up into a good one. We
Well,
workshopped it.
You're good at rewrites.
But I did think that Sham 66 is really
come
very, very special.
Absolute Radio presents 10 hours of Frank Skinner. He only came to Absolute Radio on a 3-month contract, and 10 years later, he still won't sign it. Happy 10th anniversary, Frank, from Absolute Radio.
We've had a good point just brought up by Roger, who's a reader of the show. Hi, Frank, Emily and Alan. With Frank doing a 10-hour broadcast for his 10-year anniversary on the show, is he not worried that a dangerous precedent is being set? The viewers will expect a 15-hour show for the 15th anniversary,
I know, that has
20 hours
crossed
for the
my mind.
20th, etc., until eventually the maths will mean that he'll only be able to leave the studio for a brief spell midweek.
Yeah.
Well...
Well,
I think
20th
you've-
anniversary will be in the Donald Trump Home for the Confused, won't we?
he's a dangerous precedent.
Trebon.
I was talking to a
on.
journalist this week, and I was comparing.
Sorry for your loss.
I was talking to a BB. She was asking me about the BBC and commercial radio kind of difference, and I said I felt that the commercial radio was viewed a bit like, those brothers of presidents like Billy Carter, Jimmy Carter's brother, who had a beer named after him and stuff.
Yes.
And I think a lot of them had
Yes.
brothers that were like the black sheep of the family type thing.
They're sort of wrong uns, yeah.
And it suddenly occurred to me, has Donald Trump got a brother who's a really respectable, decent, fair-minded...
I think he has a brother who's no longer with us, actually.
Does it?
Donald Trump.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
I thoughts with his family.
So,
I
I hate to be the fly in the ointment, but I think
No.
that is the case.
dear.
That's trampled all over.
On the subject of American politicians, though, have you seen the? I think this is doing the rounds, as they say. There's a bit of footage of Mitt Romney being brought a birthday cake, whereupon he does some banter with the colleagues, which is all quite charming, and then he goes over to the cake. It's his 72nd birthday.
We should say, by the way, of the cake, that it's made of erect Twinkies, I guess what you would call them, I think.
Are we still on air? Are we still on air?
No, that's
yes,
all right to say.
Oh, okay,
have you ever encountered a Twinkie?
God.
No, they were all at least 6. No, I don't think I've ever eaten one. I've seen them on sale. There was a time, remember those far off days when if you wanted an American sweet, like a Hershey bar or something, you had to go to America, basically.
Yes.
But now they're all over London. I imagine they're all over Britain, the American.
They're in corner shops now.
They do them in the deli.
Twinkie bars, so I didn't think
that kind of thing, I think.
Yeah, Twinkie.
You know.
The urban myth, of course, sorry, Frank.
No.
I was going to say about the Twinkie is that, it can last forever.
Yeah.
Is it the movie WALL-E?
Yeah.
Did you say Wally or Wally? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Wally.
So it features in that, doesn't it? Because his cockroach, I think, eats it. The idea being that it will still be here millions of years from now.
I don't know where that came about, but there's the idea they have a sort of endless shelf life, which is odd because they have cream in them, I think.
Well, when you say
not
cream,
for it, they have something cream.
It's something resembling cream.
But it was all if you can, a bit like the Giant's Causeway. So they were all sticking up.
They're all sticking up. You're right.
Individual, and each one of them had got a candle.
There's a lot of candles in there. Not 72, I don't think.
I didn't like that.
How old he is, Mitt?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow, that's a question. When do you stop getting your age represented in candles on a cake?
8, 12, 15. It's either 8, 12 or 15.
Excellent.
Can I just say, please don't ever represent my age on a cake because people will have, there'll be a blast furnace. People will have to wear lab goggles.
If we did it out on the square, it'd be all right.
Maybe call the fire department. Just to be clear about that, it'd be the ET suits they'll be wearing.
Oh, come on. Okay. Don't put yourself down. But it would, it would.
Come
what
on.
about if they didn't mind?
Well, I feel like we should come back to Mitt Romney's technique. I feel like
if they did wine at night time, would it be as daylight in Golden Square? Would I have the intensity of the sun itself?
Can you imagine?
Yeah. Nobody could I couldn't get near enough to blow it out. And yes, we will come back
Great
because
Fire of London.
For me. When you consider how many people have been given birthday cakes, the fact there is still room for innovation, I find remarkable.
Yeah.
But we'll more in a moment.
Celebrating 10 years of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with 10 hours of Frank.
Absolute Radio.
We were discussing Mitt Romney, and we should really discuss
Willard.
Willard,
that's
his real name.
His real name is Willard. Mitt Romney. Mm-hmm. And same name as, if you remember, the Alsatian in EastEnders.
That's,
Did he name it? I wonder if he was inspired by the presidential nominee.
I hope so.
Can you imagine Dean Gaffney?
I think Dean
Gaffney coming in and saying, I'll tell you what we should call the dog. Mitt Romney, Willard Romney.
Yeah. And didn't he have a cat later, the same character called Mitt?
No. I nearly fell for that.
There is the Mitt Romney dog.
Gullible.
What happened to Dean Gaffney? 8, 12, 15.
No, he'll be in.
He's still around, yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, I like him.
Mitt, there's a big, the Mitt dog story. The story that they think cost Mitt the presidency.
Yes.
That Mitt and his family. This is. I feel bad because Emily's our dog correspondent. But anyway, it was a big. Mitt and his family went on a 650-mile drive. I think it was a 12-hour drive.
Oh yeah.
And they put the dog on the roof rack.
Yes.
Is that?
But behind a screen of some sort.
Well, it was in but it was a long time.
Yeah.
And anyway, I think they got a few. You know, when people, when you've done something
When we say they put it in they didn't have it strapped to the roof right by its ankles.
Well, it was in a travelling thing, but air was coming in. It wasn't sealed. Obviously, it couldn't be sealed.
And they must have been doing a big...
And it was on the roof for a 650-mile journey.
At presumably, 70 miles an hour.
I'm not suggesting it was like when you leave your briefcase on the roof of the car as you're getting in. They put the dog there while they sorted everything.
Coffee cup.
And then they could hear the sound of dog toenails slowly moving down the roof of the car.
Frank. But
But they love to get their head out the window.
They do.
They love that.
Maybe the dogs just want
but
that.
they don't want that. Some Ben-Hur chariot race.
What it really didn't want.
The upshot of it.
The dog was okay, though. Can we just say?
No, the dog was ill.
Well, it was okay ultimately.
It was yes.
I think it was okay until they put it through a car wash, wasn't it? Didn't they go through a car wash?
They had to go through a car wash because the dog. How can I put this on breakfast radio? Got the runs quite badly. And you know when people if you've got something on your car, like if you've left the petrol cap up, people wave or flash their lights.
Yes.
And they were getting all that, thinking, what on earth going on? When they got their car, it was covered in dog excrement. I know.
All I care about is the dog in this story.
Look, the dog was fine.
The dog was fine in the
wasn't
end.
fine. Obviously, he was poorly to have had that happened. But it reminded me.
That would stop me voting for him.
You remember the Aston Martin DB5 in golfing used to spray oil out the back to make them all spin around.
Do you know what? I love that dog for doing that. That was his vengeance.
Don't feel you have to stick up for the dog in every story.
Every story.
I don't. In that particular story,
No,
I like
obviously.
that Frank thinks that's pathetically sentimental, not wanting to strap a dog.
You're just saying he was
to
in a
a roof
container.
rack.
You were
Going
defending
at 70 miles. I didn't know about the car wash at that stage.
No, I don't know
That's
if he
changed
was
everything.
in. I don't know about the car wash. This is Alan's embroidery. It needed a car wash. He was covered in dog runs.
Yeah.
Drons, as I think we call them. No, look, obviously it's a shame. Also, when people drive in front of into you and they got the spray on the windscreen, it all comes back onto your car. It must have been like that. Anyway, look, the dog was absolutely fine.
And this is an old story. This bit of it
But
is the
as
old.
it's our anniversary show, I would like to dig out an old favourite. Very cruel.
Happy 10th anniversary to Frank Skinner. Our gift to you is an extra 7 hours of work. This is 10 Hours of Frank on Absolute Radio.
So yeah, we were
Who's
just
just
talking
had
about
a tummy rumble?
That was me. Sorry.
that was Mitt's dog,
That was more a throat gurgle.
Seamus. Seamus, he was called.
He was.
He was. It's Irish setter, so called Seamus.
You know a lot about Mitt Romney's dog.
No, that was
He's obsessed by
during
it.
the time of this when he was trying to be president.
They lost in the
it
election.
was a big deal.
Yeah.
It was like when people think the bacon sandwich eating lost
changed the course
Ed
of history.
Miliband
That
thing,
bacon sandwich.
Yeah.
I think the dog.
Thank God we didn't vote him.
Yeah.
I'm surprised.
Things could have gone really off the rails.
Things could have been really chaotic.
Yeah.
I'm surprised people didn't change Mitt's name for a brief period.
Okay, come on. We've all had a drink.
Oh, okay.
Oh no,
But anyway,
just me last night.
Mitt has gone viral this week, not for any dog escapades, but
Yeah.
the way he
These are
blew out the
Twinkies.
candles on a birthday cake.
So do you want to explain this, Al?
Yeah, rather than the lean over and big breath blow out all of the
How dare
candles at
you.
once that I think we
Followed
all,
by applause.
Yeah, that we're all accustomed
Can I
to.
add the female caveat here? What ladies often do, ladies with long hair, we clasp our hair to our chest.
I've
'cause you
never
don't want the
noticed
singe.
that.
It's an instinctive reaction. You see women often do it. They pull their hair out the way. Okay.
That's very sensible.
Yeah.
Good
As
bit
you
of
were, Al.
detail. I do
always-
like to know how.
I use the have Mitt Romney's dog ready as a fire extinguisher.
listening to us talk about this dog all morning.
I mean, it is interesting stuff. But Mitt Romney himself...
Yeah, come on, let's hear this.
He picks up each candle and blows it out individually. Whilst bantering, he just...
It doesn't sound like a big story, this, but when you see it, you realise how counterintuitive it is to you've seen so many people, that's what happens. You take the big breath, you hold your hair back.
Yeah.
Yes.
You blow it out all in one, which is the whole thing of blowing them out all in one, and then you get your wish.
It was the way he did it was a bit like a sort of Victorian lamplighter.
Yes.
Blowing, he was doing his job. And I don't trust people.
I wish he
that.
took a small snuffer out of the jacket pocket, like a little metal cone on, and done each one
whilst everyone was silent.
Yeah,
because they'd sung the song, and there was just the sound of Mitt snuffing out each light.
There's a bit where one of the staff says, "Oh yeah, Sue, whatever the woman was called, Susan made the cake," and he went, "Well, you're sick," and she said, "Yeah, a lot of people have told me that," and I thought, I really want to know more about you now. Really want to know more about you.
I would have said, really? With the dog? You're saying I'm sick?
Yeah, exactly. And he said, don't mention... Why didn't they do a cake themed on the...
chocolate cake?
Yeah.
Recreated the incident.
Yeah.
It's
spin out a bit of Nutella.
It's Frank Skinner.
Frank is 10. Celebrating 10 years of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, your manager's joined us.
Yes.
Just in case you didn't know.
I think there's been some debate about whether I get paid more for doing 10 hours. He's coming.
I've been asked that a few times.
How have you?
Yeah, said, we're doing a long shot.
You fast. What, in the mirror?
Some people have mentioned it.
Frank,
you've trained them well.
Breaking news.
Oh, yeah?
Twinkies available in Sainsbury's Kentish Town.
You on Grindr? Twinkie. Well, I really quite fancy one now. Maybe we should ask Faye to nip out and get some Twinkies.
Okay, well, this is from Seb, 018. Thanks for that, Seb.
Yeah.
Good intel.
Vanilla cream in like a sponge casing.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's what you're after.
And it's not quite vanilla cream, but
It's not quite.
It's the consistency of cream, okay? I don't want to get sued by Mr. Twinkie.
One. Do you know what here's a Twinkie fact you might not know. Do you remember Jack Black?
Strap in, everyone.
Do you remember Jack Black's King Kong?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
As part of the promo for that film, Twinkies switched to banana flavoured cream for a period.
Did they?
Somehow bananas were what you'd associate with King Kong.
It's quite a subtle bit of promotion as well. Someone would eat a Twinkie and think, it tastes of bananas.
Yeah.
I must go and see that King Kong film.
Exactly. But it's one of the stereotypes that still exist, isn't it? The sort of the ape and the banana. I mean, do chimpanzees even eat bananas? 8, 12, 15.
They're a bit small for King Kong.
And also he's a gorilla. I can't believe gorillas eat bananas, do they?
Well, he's not just any gorilla, he's huge.
I think that's fair comment. Light review there on King Kong.
Yeah.
Actually, we had a light review. Al suddenly said, I've been watching Fleabag. It's very good.
Yeah. Well, I can give you we've had a classic late review recently because me and my children have started to watch Laurel and Hardy films after dinner. Just a little bit before bed.
Yeah.
And what about this for a late review? We were watching one, I think it might have been the Music Box, where the piano falls down the stairs. And my daughter, in fact, it wasn't that one, it was a different film, maybe Them Thar Hills, whatever. My daughter said, it's all going to go wrong, isn't it? And I thought, you've nailed this. I think you might have guessed the formula for all of them.
There is a bit where one of the, in the early days, I think it'd be Patrick Troughton era, one of the
It's Doctor Who, darling.
Doctor Who companions.
Oh, it's Laurel and Hardy.
One of the Doctor Who
It's everywhere,
companions
that guy.
says to the Doctor, whenever we go anywhere, something terrible always seems to happen. Yes, that's the brief.
Yeah.
I won't let you have a go at Al about Fleabag, seeing as I think it was about 13 months ago you said, I tell you what's great, you've seen that Broadchurch?
I know.
Come on.
I think it's all right. And he's absolutely right. A Fleabag is... And it's on at the moment as well.
Mm-hmm.
But he hasn't got that far yet.
No spoilers.
And it is brilliant. We all think it's
Can
brilliant.
I just share with... Sorry, Al.
I thought we were just going to return to the Mitt
Yes.
Romney story with him. I think he gives
Speaking
away...
of Fleabags,
I think he gives...
that's what he's got on the roof.
I think he gives away the point that he's doing it all for, because he blows one out and then he blows another one out and then he goes, I'm having a wish each time, by the way.
Yeah.
And I think
I
he's
don't think that.
gaming the system.
Yeah, I don't like that. I tell you what I didn't like...
Doesn't a sailor die or something every time you blow a candle out? What's the tradition?
I'm not sure that actually happens.
No, but no, I don't think it happens. Isn't it?
Yeah, it's
like
like an
every
old
time you
wives'
hear
tale.
a bell ring, an
Yes.
angel gets his wings. That
No,
one of
I
those.
don't know these things.
I thought that was every time you heard a ukulele jingle.
No, the bell one. It's referred to in this. It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh, yes, you're right.
What I didn't like...
Say, I guess that's Mary. That's an angel gets his wings. Yes. Sorry.
I was just going to say, what I didn't like about Mitt picking out those Twinkies individually was everything. Number two, what I didn't like about it was it felt very prissy and a bit control freaky. And it gave me a bit of an unpleasant insight, I'm
Yes.
afraid, into Romney. Because
Another one.
Well, yeah, not just Fleabag's Gate.
No.
It struck me as the behaviour of the sort of person who would, people who have cornettos and leave the foil paper on the bottom of the ice cream as a sort of insurance against it dripping down.
Yeah.
Enjoy the experience. Take the risk.
You see, I'm such a risk taker. When I get an ice cream cornet, I break the bottom off and make a small,
You don't make
tiny
the mini
cornet.
ice cream.
I make the
Crazy.
mini ice cream cornet.
Frank.
You can only guess what runs through the bottom there. It's like carrying Mitt's dog. Oh, they've got to stop those now. Look,
Yeah, because
Just 3
you're
more
really
hours.
going to, aren't you?
Three more hours of this.
coming up next is Os, actually. So we're on for another 3 hours. But
Oh, wait, how
not,
long to go?
not,
3?
when I say we're the three of us, I'm
It's
going
like
on
last
after
days
that.
of GMTV. We're losing it.
So, look, if you're listening on the decade stations, Absolute 80s, 90s, etc., you'll have to switch to Absolute Radio to hear the rest of our 3 hours and my 10-hour marathon. So I'm just giving you a bit of technical advice on that. If you'd rather listen to music from the past than comedy of the present, the choice is yours.
Frank Skinner.
Frank is 10.
Celebrating 10 years of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner. I know. On Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via Absolute Radio website. We're in untrodden territory now. We've never done a show this long.
Never been on it after 11.
Frank, you've got
it's
banana
like-
on your mouth.
It's like the Brexit crisis.
Yes, you do.
I'm sorry, but I have to tell you.
No, I think you were right
Put it
to.
there deliberately. Mind your own business.
That's what a friend does.
No,
If you've got
it's
lipstick on the teeth, you tell them.
There's bound to be some publicity photos.
Piglicity.
Yeah, I can't
Pig
say
litter.
it. We're back to where we were, mispronouncing words.
Oh, I've only gone slightly over the 3 hours. No one can speak. It's covered in food. It's
855 Lisa has texted a theory about the old Mitt Romney candle blowing out
Oh, yeah.
technique. Do you think blowing all the candles out in one go is too fraught with jeopardy for someone who doesn't trust their denture glue?
Oh.
I think that's a good point.
that
She then
wouldn't
adds,
be.
I hope you don't peak
Girlfriend's
too
throwing
soon.
shade.
she said what?
I hope you don't peak too soon. I think that may mean comedically if you've got 10
okay.
hours.
It's not the first woman to say that to me.
Oh, dear.
I'm terribly sorry, everyone, but I've been on air. 4 minutes longer than I normally am. I'm exhausted.
I think she might have a point, though. I think Mitt Romney, if he tries to blow out all the candles at once and he doesn't trust the dentures, he's going to spit the teeth across the room like a sort of chatterbox cartoon
You can
thing.
spray that again. Sorry. No, go
I
on.
was just going to say, I don't like people blowing out cakes whilst wearing a tie. Okay? I have rules on that because the act of blowing out a cake is sort of...
Blowing out a cake is an
Blowing out a
interesting
candle,
term.
okay.
Okay.
Pedants. Blowing out candles on a cake, it feels a sort of childlike, unspoilt activity. As soon as you bring in suits and ties and lanyards, it's depressing.
You see, I can accept a child in a birthday necktie.
Yeah, well, that's fine.
On elastic, maybe?
Young Magician of the Year, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Totally.
Waistcoat?
So Young Magician of the Year.
Okay.
Well, they like a dicky bow, of course. So it doesn't... They don't want to accidentally take up the end off the tie when they're sawing the lady in half.
And I would like the
Can you
waistcoat...
still saw a lady in half? Is that gone
you
a bit
can.
now?
8, 12, 15.
Yeah.
No, I think you can. I think.
Can you? I thought that might...
I'm
It
pretty
doesn't
sure
seem
that's-
quite right, does it?
You think there's misogyny in the...
Well, I
song?
wonder if
You know
there's
she
a-
lives.
Do they call
yeah.
it?
Spoiler alert.
Oh, depending
for
on the
anybody that hasn't
magician.
seen the trick.
You've ruined that for so many people.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is it called Saw a Lady in Half as well?
Is it?
Yeah.
Lady.
She doesn't have... Yeah.
I think so. If you called it saw a woman in half, you think it'd be all right.
No, I think it sounds worse.
I think it
Oh.
might be on the way out. Bad news for the people who've bought the cabinet and hired the identical twins.
And what about the lady, eh?
Yeah, but as you say,
How's she gonna work?
I've never ever heard of it going wrong.
No.
The sawn lady in a half thing.
The knife throwing, yes.
Definitely.
Oh,
One of the more memorable episodes of this morning.
Have you ever seen anyone throwing knives at a man on a board spinning round? It's always a
Stick
lady.
around.
Well, so now we're going to end the anniversary.
Emily and I have been working on something.
Oh, God. You're going to cut the cake with it first. Don't get cream on me.
Yes, that is the sound of a ukulele, which means this must be 10 hours of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We had a monkey-based text, didn't we? Monkey stroke ape stroke simian.
We did actually, yeah. 261 has said, Frank, chimps, apes, etc. do eat bananas, but should not, ! Gives them diabetes.
There you go.
Alex.
Well, I mean, there's the thing.
Yeah.
My son has got a toy chimpanzee, and it's got a banana actually stick.
What's that?
My manager just made a grab for the helium balloon. Just trying to...
Sees it as a perk.
That's frightened me to death. No, but it's got a banana velcroed into its palm.
Has it?
And it's completely the wrong message it's sending.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know
How
what you
many
mean.
bananas do you have to eat to get diabetes?
One thing about the chimp, apes, etc. community is that they cannot be educated out of their love of bananas. They can't be told.
Are you reading this? Or is
No,
this...
I'm just
Okay.
telling you.
It's got their
I just-
Wikipedia up. He typed in
I'm
chimp.
pretty confident if somebody says, guys, these give you diabetes, please stop eating them,
No.
they still go for them.
I can see that.
They don't
You
care
should know,
about-
because Frank has an affinity with the chimpanzee. Do you remember the incident, Frank?
I
Didn't
used
you
to,
lock eyes with one?
Well, we
Yeah.
discussed this on the show.
No, I used to supply insulin to the chimp community. No, I was at Monkey World in Wool.
You were in Wool?
It was quite breezy.
Big Lenny Kravitz scarf, was
No,
it?
it's a place called Wool in Dorset,
Yeah.
and I was at Monkey World. And when the monkeys first arrive there, they are put into a sort of a glass fronted building, kept away from the other monkeys.
Sounds a bit
Often-
Mitt Romney.
Yeah, I don't want to bring down the tone, but often they haven't been treated well, the new
Right.
arrivals. So they take a while to settle in. And one came to the window and...
Sorry, I'm laughing, but that's such a Frank euphemism.
what?
He tries to put things in a delicate way.
What?
He says he doesn't want to say cruel too, because often they haven't been treated well.
No, well, I mean, the poor things.
I know.
And I was looking in their window, and a chimpanzee came over to the window right next to where, I mean, literally next to the glass. We were less, I would say, than 3 inches apart.
It was like you're a prison visitor. You're a mole.
Mm-hmm. And he was looking straight in. I could see years of evolution in his dark brown eye. He had brown eyes. Did I mention that?
Yeah.
And I was looking at him and he was looking at me, and we must have been there. I don't want to exaggerate this, but I'm talking 5-6 minutes. People were gathering up. People said, "Look at that bloke and that chimpanzee," and they were gathering. Obviously, I was a bit annoyed they hadn't recognised me.
I was thinking that bloke.
That bloke, the indignity.
But it was he absolutely locked on me. This. I don't know where he is now.
Yeah.
But that's the story.
The problem is they turn, you see.
Yeah, well, I was glad there was glass between us, or he might well have bitten off a large part of the front of my head.
I was going to say more than he could chew with you.
Yeah, well, exactly. Elvis Presley's chimpanzee grew very long-haired and aggressive and had to be locked in a room until they got someone to come in, and I'm afraid...
Do they get long hair? That's sort of like Grateful Dead,
their hair gets longer and more,
Does it go grey?
I think Bubbles might have gone the same way, the Michael Jackson thing.
Oh, dear. How do we get out of this?
Oh, yeah, we've gone on to animal.
This is why the show's usually 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
This is what happened.
It's going to be an interesting next couple of hours, couldn't it?
Yeah, we've had the Michael Jackson conversation on the back burner for 9 years. It was fine then. Now it's woefully out of date.
We better
anyway, chimpanzees don't eat bananas. If you're listening, let's face it, they got the ears for it.
Celebrating 10 years of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with 10 hours of Frank.
Absolute Radio.
Mitt, with Mitt. With Mitt, that actually sounds like a translation. I believe Mitt is German for with.
With, yes.
Yes.
With Mitt.
Has anyone, whenever if he went to meet Angela Merkel and she goes to pick him up from the reception, would she actually say, "Come and see Mitt"? I really hope so. So listen, here's what I think. This is my genuine thing.
Okay.
I think Mitt, older guy, but with,
72, and can I just say, looking good.
I have to say, he does look good.
He looks absolutely first class.
I mean, the idea...
All right.
No, he does that.
Steady on.
I think he's
objectifying Mitt.
I think he's my new would but shouldn't. It's Mitt Romney.
Well, your last one was Jesse Eisenberg.
I know, it's like, what's happened
There's a
to me?
theme.
Yeah.
There is. But as I was saying, I didn't know I liked ice skating until about 5 years ago.
Oh, there you go.
So listen, I think...
we can't do anything but.
You need a bit of air. You need a bit of lung capacity to blow out a bunch of candles like that on the top of the Twinkies.
Yeah.
And I wonder, especially when he saw the video, if he thought, I don't want to be seen to fail at this.
Yeah.
And where, like, for example, if as part of our 10th anniversary celebration, here we go. Darling, happy anniversary.
Oh, that's nice.
If as part of that, you presented me, you got the video on, you presented me with a phone book to tear in half to prove that I'd still got it after 10 years. If I then tore it one page at a time, it would be, I think, insurance against me humiliating myself.
Yeah.
Do
I
people still
think you're onto something. Well, why
Do you
are
think
you
he's a shallow breather?
Oh, yes, Al. Do people still, as a show of strength, tear a phone box in
Yes,
half?
I think that still happens.
Book. It does.
Can we change
and
that
also
question?
deck of cards happens as well.
Can we change that
Wow.
question to this? Do you tear a phone book in half? Could you do
I'm
that?
not strong.
Do you
Here's a
break?
question.
Do you break
when did
wood?
you last see a phone book?
Oh, great question.
8, 12, 15.
Yeah.
Could you break a Thompson Local in half?
No.
Okay. Have you broken wood in half?
No, I think that's the drains.
Celebrating 10 years of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with 10 hours of Frank.
Because we're a very decimal radio station. Absolute Radio.
I like your theory about Mitt Romney's fear of failure. I had a couple of theories. I think one, I think he may be a man that uses perhaps too much hairspray, and he's just worried if he leans over all those candles, his whole head will go up.
Yeah, I remember hearing an American comic talking about seeing Ronald Reagan get off a helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
And he said it's like one of those Chinook things that they get. And he said he got off it with propeller still going, and his hair did not move at all. It was so heavily sprayed. He said, but his throat was blowing all over the place. So that is, see, it's attention to detail. That's what
this is the thing. And the trouble is, if you do go for the Count from Sesame Street style hairdo, which is a sort of immovable, I believe they call it Reagan Black, that shade.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Good.
I call it Psychic Black, as you know, in honour of Eileen Drury.
Of course.
Google it. That you do run that risk of the rest of you looking somewhat less intact.
Yes, you look a bit Sporticus. I don't know if you remember him, but there is a presenter now on Sky News who's got the jet black hair, the sharp features, and he really, really reminds me of Sport. When I say now, I don't mean this second. But he really is. He could be Sporticus in a travelling stage show with zero makeup.
I have
How many
one
of us
other
could say
theory.
that?
I have one other theory about Mitt Romney. I think he may be a little bit underworked. You can tell from the way they bring the cake in, and he takes ages as he's bantering around, and then he walks around and he blows out the candles one by one. I think he's just trying to eke out his day.
Oh,
I don't think he's got a lot on.
Are you suggesting he's made a meal of it?
Apparently, someone put some hundreds and thousands on the cake, and it took him 4.5 hours to eat it.
With tweezers.
Yeah.
Oh. That could be. I don't know what Mitt. I'm guessing he's a consultant for someone, because that's what they do.
He's still a senator, isn't he?
Oh, is he?
I believe
fair enough.
so.
Seems to have been
He's
around.
an underworked senator. That's my theory.
Well, isn't it? Also, the other thing is, come on, we were saying off air, actually, this is what we talk about off air, that the man's worth a lot of money. Okay? I'm saying 200-300 million, let's say. He's not going to eat Twinkies, is he?
Oh, he loves them, apparently.
Yeah, I think that's the great thing about the American politicians. Is that they like things like hamburgers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, when Ed tried the bacon sandwich,
Made a right mess
who
of
was
it.
the British politician who had a takeaway?
Oh.
He had a takeaway burger that he said I just sent out for takeaway, and the company he had it from, I think it was Byron Burgers.
Yes, very well remembered.
Didn't deliver takeaway.
Okay.
It's that thing when politicians pretend to be human beings, which is always tricky.
Always a huge
I
mistake.
wish they wouldn't do that.
It's Frank Skinner.
Frank is 10. Celebrating 10 years of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I think we had another bio tapestry thing, didn't we? Someone suggested it should be called the Biro tapestry,
Yeah.
which I thought was. It's not in Biro,
No.
but it suggests a sort of secondary, less classical version of something. I quite liked it. One thing I didn't mention, as I said, it was embroidered in 1885, if you want the facts, by a bunch of...
Oh, lovely info.
yeah, all done by women.
Okay.
And there is a scene, I don't know if there is a thing on there called...
There's not just one, there's absolute scenes.
Yeah, there
on
is.
that.
There's a scene entitled Negotiations between William and Harold.
Oh, yeah.
But wait, it struck me at that point that Harry and Wills was at the very centre of the Battle of Hastings.
up.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think they were named after the main protagonists in the Battle of Hastings?
No.
No, okay.
There's a lovely little theory, and I didn't want to spoil it for you, but no.
But there's a bit in it where there's a man, and I think it could be two men, or it's the same man dancing about, completely naked. This is on the original Completely completely naked.
Pitch inversion.
I didn't know there was an adult. There were adult scenes.
Well, the
in it.
original one, and he's definitely male. You wouldn't, I'm talking big stitches.
Okay, Frank.
And
come on, let's keep it nice.
no, and the Victorian women that have done it have put pants on said man.
Yes.
What do you mean pants?
They've embroidered pants on him.
They've censored it, haven't
Is
they?
it like when you have the Ken doll or the Action Man with the little painted on?
Yeah.
Well, I
Red
don't know
area.
I don't think there's anything on. Because what's the point of doing those extra stitches if you're going to put pants over the top?
What do the pants look like?
They look like boxer shorts. Actually, I don't know what the Victorian pant was like for men.
8, 12, 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, what did the Victorians wear?
Anyone
I mean,
who lived in the
women wore these-
Victorian era, they'll
Yeah.
probably be listening this morning.
Yeah. Dickensian England. If any of
Let's
the,
not laugh about that because, Frank, you had one of my favourite moments ever on this show was when you revealed to us that you had a personal connection with Victorian times because was it your grandmother?
Oh yes, my grandmother remembered when the teacher said we've all got to go into the hall, and they all sat down, and the headmistress got up and said Queen Victoria had died.
I'm sorry to laugh.
And someone put their hand up and said, never mind that, have they finished that tapestry yet? And yeah, so that was a little bit of history in our family, I must say. So yes, they are. The man is in pants,
Okay.
and all the better for it, if you ask me. Check it out.
Celebrating 10 years of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with 10 hours of Frank.
Absolute Radio.
Just in case anyone's just tuning in, it is our 10th anniversary show. Darling, happy anniversary. Some of you may recognise that as a single by Slim Whitman.
Oh, yes.
Good old Slim. Fabulous version of Rosemary.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Oh, Rosemary, I love you. Yes.
We
great
should
guy.
say, if you can hear sound effects, we've had a delivery.
We have. We are, forgive us, but we don't have a food break today because the three of us are doing a block of 6 hours together. So we sent out for chips. I was going to say fish and chips, but
Well, we couldn't get fish.
We couldn't get fish
Not allowed.
because one of the mats on the rock and roll
Ford?
football, yes, Ford in brackets, is he's allergic to he's not addicted to bass. He is
Not Billy Bass.
No, so we have to. If we smeared a bit of cod, and he got across it, he'd be done for. So we've
Well,
been
to
very
be fair, I think it's because we know how you eat, which is
well, exactly.
caveman-like.
But,
Paleo.
Yeah, paleo.
in fact, I just went to the gentleman's convenience here.
Oh, yeah.
How was
And there
it?
was no hand wash.
Oh.
So I
now you
just
tell us.
used... I always make the water a bit hotter in those cases.
Yes.
As a compensation.
Good.
And I've always said to myself, well, you don't really need soap. The cavemen didn't use
Can we just say anyone who
soap.
goes to Frank's church, just bear this in mind. Peace be with you.
Yes. Yes. And
Exchange of hands.
bacteria be with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking that the cavemen, may not have had hot water. Certainly not pre-fire discovery.
Good point.
And also, should I be taking my hygiene guidance from the cavemen?
No.
Must have been horrible in the cavemen times.
Do you think?
Oh, no hot
No pollution.
water. It's so cold.
Less pollution, you're right.
I couldn't bear the cold.
Well,
Uncluttered though,
pre-fire.
wasn't it? Life.
Pre-fire.
What age would you most like to have lived in?
Well, I lived in a few.
You almost made it to Victorian.
I
we
lived in
established.
post-war austerity. I lived a bit of that. A baby boom. Swinging 60s. That was
Oh, you
me.
lived through that.
Glam rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I've seen them coming, I've seen them go. But
Anyway,
if I had the choice, I think it'd be 18th century London.
So we've had the food delivery.
We have.
Of the not fish and chips, instead we had...
I had
steak pie.
Okay.
And chips, fantastic.
And I have had...
I've gone chicken and chips.
I had a delivery of a Savoy.
And
it's my
I've heard some euphemisms.
It's my first Savoy.
We're breaking new ground for Emily Dean here, aren't we?
That's brilliant.
I've never eaten a Savoy.
You know the programme I've never
life.
seen Star Wars?
I'm getting it out.
Oh, yes, I've never.
Oh.
This is one of your I never.
Poppy's the...
Oh, look at that. They've sent... It looks like... You know when you get a box of cigars? They've sent... Can I call it sheathed and unsheathed Savoy?
They have, yes.
I don't know what to say.
This is battered normal. And actually, there's some Savoys at the bottom there. So
can I say it really is like a cigar case coming out after a child is born.
Emily, if I may be so bold, can I suggest that you reach right to the bottom and try an actual Savoy rather than a battered sausage?
I have the alternative advice. Is there anything better than a batter?
There's this. Is this a Savoy?
That's a Savoy. Yeah, that's a good old...
But the battered sausage is what I would call the caveman's Twinkie.
Okay, I don't want the caveman's Twinkie.
Okay.
Should I have the one? There's one resembling a Frankfurt.
What's under your anger iceberg?
There's one resembling a Frankfurter, one with batter and one plain. Which one shall I have, Frank? What is the proper Savoy?
I think battered's best.
Okay, I'm going to have a bite of a battered Savoy. Okay. I'm going to...
I think that's technically a battered sausage rather than a battered Savoy.
I can't do it, Frank.
At least try the Savoy, the actual Savoy.
I'm going to do it. Okay.
Hold on, go on, girl. Go on, girl.
Okay,
go on.
Okay. Don't be saying "go on, girl" while I'm eating this. Okay, I'm going to have a bite.
Oh, there we go. Good audio.
That was great audio. That was actually her spine giving way as she reached across.
Happy 10th anniversary to Frank Skinner. Our gift to you is an extra 7 hours of work. This is 10 Hours of Frank on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. We're just going into, what is it now, our fifth hour? You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
We give up past a certain... It's like with my grandfathers. I gave up past number 4 or 5.
Yeah, well, someone texted in, didn't they, and say, I work 10 hours a day, shot your face.
Yeah. Well, that's paraphrasing it.
Yeah, paraphrasing.
Someone wrote in to say that their son is a chef, and those were his words, pretty much his words.
Yeah.
He said, "Hi, Frank, I was giving my son Tom a lift to the restaurant where he's one of the chefs this morning and listening to you. He said, 10 hours, I work longer than that every day. That said, congrats, and many more years on Absolute." That's from Mike.
I mean, I think we might have been coming across like sort of media elites where a 10-hour shift is considered some kind of
saying, I can't believe I've got to get up.
It's pretty unusual to do 10 hours solid on the radio.
Yeah.
I think what's made this one particularly distinctive is that we haven't had...
Reviewing it already?
A dip in quality.
What gives it a unique...
Makes it particularly distinctive, barely 3 hours in. What extraordinary behaviour.
What gives my 10-hour radio marathon a unique flavour is there is no charity aspect to it whatsoever. Usually these things are done for good causes. To just do it willfully.
Not here on commercial radio.
No.
It's the sort of the flip side to comic relief.
Yes.
Well, I would like to say, which I know you won't want me to, but I'm afraid I'm a gunner. That's because
you are a gunner.
I am a gunner. I'm a gunner. You do give to charity, but Not in the...
No, but I think the idea... But the idea with
he gives a lot of money.
The idea with the charity thing is that the listeners have to do it, isn't that the idea?
Yeah.
Like when Tess and... who was it?
Claudia.
Tess and Claudia.
Lovely Claudia.
Who else would it be? Tess and Claudia did the dance marathon. They raised £1 million.
Yeah.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Amazing.
And you're doing this 10-hour marathon.
For free pie and chips.
And I think
There's something wrong. We've missed the trick.
We've got to the stage of the show. It's the old telethon in the 80s when Rusty Lee's taking the calls. I'm afraid, okay?
So Rusty Lee used to laugh. Lovely cook. Lovely cook. But
a lot
she did
of people,
a few 10-hour shifts.
A lot of people point... A lot of people pointing out that there are Twinkies available in the London area. We've had Twinkie sightings in London, Camden Town.
Okay. I think the next time I see one, I'm going to buy one.
Okay.
I think that's good.
I'm not going to make a cake out of it. But,
Get yourself one.
I mean, there is a Savoy, if you wanted to say... You know the way pasties, Cornish pasties, used to... Originally, I think they had savoury in one side and then they had like a jam thing in the other half of the pasty. So they were main course and dessert.
What a great idea.
Like an airline food.
If you got a Savoy and a Twinkie and maybe an old Twix wrapper...
Oh, yeah.
You could carry them.
That's a great idea, although you lost me at if you got a Savoy, having just tasted one.
Emily, give it a chance. Give it a chance.
10 years of the Frank Skinner Show means nothing really. It's just an arbitrary number we humans have assigned to our own perception of time. But we're trying to make something of it. As a result, you're listening to 10 hours of Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
I don't want all of our content to be birthday themed.
Okay.
That would be a little narcissistic.
Anniversary.
Oh, yes. Anniversary.
And birthday, because the show was born, somebody said.
Lovely way of looking at it.
I remember the pangs, the labour pangs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was painful.
But anyway, yes, there was another...
there was another story that I saw, which was, did you read about these teenagers from New Jersey who had a billboard put up asking strangers to wish their father a happy birthday?
Now, can I ask you about this billboard?
Sure.
Because what it says on the billboard is... Wish my dad a happy birthday. Love, your sons.
Yeah.
Now, who is the addressee of that billboard?
Oh, very good question.
It's a very good point, Frank.
And we should say it had his phone number. So they're addressing the stranger, but as you say, your sons.
Love your sons at the end of addressing the stranger. It doesn't make it bad. Now, if this was a note on my car windscreen, so I'd parked against someone's drive, I would forgive them. But the idea of dashing off a billboard, you'd have quite to think that you got that right.
There's been some prep time, hasn't there?
I mean, already I'm against them. I'm against the sons.
Oh, I think they're horrible.
I mean, this
Do
man,
you?
this
Put
poor
the
man.
father's mobile up.
I don't like that.
No, so he said, I have not been able to use my phone in the normal way, was what he said.
Yeah.
We don't know what normal is in New Jersey.
I think he meant I can use it as like a paperweight.
Yeah.
If I'm outside a windy cafe in a street, like I could
He got
pop it on the bill.
He got all sorts getting in touch with him.
He did, yeah.
I mean,
Once
he had
it went
people
on the
from
social media, I think it went really wild.
Kenya, Australia,
People from Kenya got
the
in touch with...
Philippines.
Excuse me, I don't
Also-
think I've ever sneezed on air before.
What a time to start.
Oh, 10 years.
On the birthday.
10 long years waiting.
And
Someone's just won some money on the
I think if
bet
you,
when Alan sneezes on air.
and I think if you're going to
an
sneeze,
angel loses its
stick.
wings.
it's nice to have the helium balloons because they responded to your sneeze, which we wouldn't normally have them in here.
Do you know the other thing is all these people, the 15,000 people, I think he got getting in touch just in a matter of days.
Oh, God.
And, okay, I didn't have to you.
15,000. I mean, I'd be annoyed if 15 people got in touch
I'd be
with me.
surprised. I bet 15 people don't get in touch with me in a year. I'm serious. I am serious. My phone, I had the thing comes up that says you had 48 minutes of screen time a day.
Uh-huh.
Cats is like 2.5 hours.
Me
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah,
just
no
checking
one
the who
ever.
alerts,
I
and that's
hardly
it,
ever.
you're
I
done.
never really call anyone hardly, and the people don't call me.
Yeah,
The people don't call me.
people.
So maybe it's because you refer to them as the people rather than friends.
That could be it.
Just
Yeah.
a little thing to think
It's a
about in your
community- It's
interactions.
a community phrase.
So you can always pay people. to ring you.
No.
Okay. So
No,
anyway, he
no.
had these 15,000 people getting in touch within a matter of days, but what they were getting in touch about I mean, most of them were saying happy birthday, singing happy birthday. Can you imagine having to endure this happy birthday to you?
From strangers, I mean.
From Australia. Apparently, some people were ringing up saying, do you know, I've got a friend that shares exactly the same birthday as you, and telling them all about their friend.
I mean, imagine not knowing that. That would be it. Oh, yeah. No, it's...
I hope he said bore off.
I see...
Bore off.
I see
bore off.
No good in it at all. I think they've done... But what I would say, and we need to move it, is... I'm slightly fascinated by recurring things in the newspapers, these news tropes. And messages on billboards has become one of those. I've seen now 6 or 7 stories about messages on billboards.
Oh, is
People
it?
getting divorced, all sorts of things by billboards.
Yes, you're right.
So,
Is it up there with I challenge my parking ticket?
Yeah, it's up there with letter arrives after 35 years. One of those.
Somebody else sent in maybe lost ring found on carrot in garden.
Yes.
Oh, what about when I tried to introduce that as a texting?
Didn't go well.
Rediscovered jewellery. Almost nothing. Almost
nothing. That was worse than the ballet link.
It wasn't.
The worst ever texting I set up was, what can you buy for a penny? Nothing. Nothing.
Yes, that is the sound of a ukulele, which means this must be 10 hours of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Darling, happy anniversary.
Wahoo! And as part of that celebration, we have a very special guest. It is David Baddiel.
Hi, Frank. Sorry, I'm laughing at the idea that I'm a very special guest.
I think you are special.
Well, no, I am obviously a very special guest, but I feel that since I can just walk into your house very easily and you live down the road from me, the specialness of seeing you is sometimes dissipated. But it's still
what?
What a lovely
joy.
opening.
It's still a joy to be here on your special show.
I think it's fair to say that you're a friend of the show.
Oh, I'm very much a friend of the show. I text in almost every week at some point to correct.
Correct and complying is what we think of you doing.
Yes, I texted in only last week.
When you say you texted in, you don't spend money with Absolute Radio.
No.
You send it to me direct.
To you. I send it to you direct. Emily is very much my ambassador on this show. Thank you, ambassador. You have been spoiling me over the years. But yeah, I texted last week about, complaining, not complaining, just putting it right, the issue of who fancied me in Newman and Baddiel as opposed to Skinner.
Oh,
yes.
I didn't know. But my theory was that you were the sort of alternative choice for people to show that they're a bit different and a bit clever.
I get what your theory was. Yeah.
Do you think that was wrong?
You don't want to go over it again.
Wrong or right, I've sucked it up. I mean, basically, I am the alternative choice. I'm not. Essentially, people who can't see very well.
But
that's what you're
wouldn't
saying.
normally be. I said when you then weren't with me, that the tables were turned.
That's what I texted. I texted.
Yes.
I seem to remember when
it now.
First came out the traps and we're sort of doing interviews about now it's the two of us together. Frank liked to say, well, it'd be nice for Dave to be the handsome one for a change. And again, as I think I texted you, who is the target of that joke? It's an interesting philosophical quandary.
But I
like to think everyone gets it.
Yeah,
there are no survivors.
I think Frank, in a way, in a brilliant way, still comes out on top because although it's self-deprecating, he's made the joke. So at some level,
which is more important than being good looking.
Exactly, he's won the room.
I think in context as well, we have to say that Rob Newman was a strikingly good looking man.
Always go on about this.
And Emily always complains about it. I think he was actually.
David was better looking.
Well,
I would prefer David.
You're proving that you're an alternative thinker.
Yeah. So anyway, it's very lovely to be here on your 10th year anniversary show.
Fine. Now, I feel now you're here, you better plug something. What you got?
What a lovely start.
Well, it's a bit bald, isn't it? You'd have thought in 10 years he'd have got a little bit, more graceful at that kind of thing.
You don't get that treatment.
So what are you up to?
You don't get that on Graham Norton, do you?
Don't. No, well, you might as well.
Well, the coffee hasn't turned up yet. I'm trying to give you something.
I've got my kids' book out, one of my many kids' books out now.
I mean, my son has got a box set of David's kids' books,
Yeah.
and they're not all in it. So even a box set doesn't cover it. He's prolific.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
my 5th one is out, and actually the box set, which I think was originally 3 books, can't get that in. I had to put it on top and take it round to Frank's and put my new book, Head Kid, there. But he is going to read it soon. He's reading Captain Underpants.
He's
at the moment,
finishing
Buzz.
Captain Underpants.
Yeah. I don't mind coming after Captain Underpants, and that's not a
Well,
euphemism.
Captain Underpants wasn't first. He followed the Treehouse.
Oh, did he?
books.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Well, they're all very good. And I've got a play coming
Oh,
out.
you stick together, you.
Hang on, I'm plugging.
He's
Oh,
doing
sorry.
his plugging, Frank.
Sorry.
You've got to let them do their plug.
Yeah, you asked me to. I've got a play coming out, although it's not been announced yet, so I'm announcing it now.
Okay.
On your show.
That's exciting.
I've got a show. You won't like it, Frank. I think we've talked about this before.
Is it the science one?
It's about religion and physics. So
Oh, don't
one-
talk to Frank
on,
about that.
on easy bed, fellow.
there's going to be problems with that and Frank Skinner, aren't there? But
Yeah, I think
nonetheless,
so.
it's coming out at the Soho Theatre in the autumn.
Oh, I'll come and see that.
I'm in.
Well done.
I'm worried about Frank coming. Already, I'm slightly frightened.
Hold on, who said I'm coming? I might be outside with a placard.
I look forward to that. Actually, my son went to the climate march the other day. You know, they do this now. Kids
Oh,
just
yeah.
go out of school and go to a climate march. So my son is, in my opinion, not at all bothered about anything at all except playing video games, but wanted obviously a day off school. So
Right.
he went there and he was just enjoying himself. And I said, "Did you get a placard?" And I assumed he wouldn't have done. But apparently, you can just get a placard if you go. I assume people stay at home, make them.
No,
and
I
then-
think you are. I went on a march against nuclear weaponry.
Did you?
And I was given a placard which we still use in our pizza oven.
What did it say?
It said
10 minutes.
ban the bomb. I think it said.
I love that one, pepperoni. Can I just tell you
about your
something?
play.
No, I don't talk about my play. Because I think of this show very much as something where the three of you get your teeth into interesting subject matter, and you really talk about it.
Saveloys this morning.
Yes, Saveloys. So I wanted to talk about something, which is I am a bit late. I'm sorry about being late. You're doing 10 hours, so hey, I think it's okay. But I was late, and I was late because the taxi driver, I don't know if you're listening, mate, he went a really mad way.
Passive aggressive, mate.
Well, to be honest, I was already a bit passively aggressive, annoyed with him in the back, and that's why I want to bring this up. I think of you, Emily, as the sort of person who, if you get in the back of a cab and they're going not the way they should go, you would immediately take control. See, what I do is I leave it too late.
All right.
They've set off. And I can see that they're going a stupid way into town, but I leave it because I think I don't want to tell him. I feel bad about it, and then I always say it anyway when it's much too late.
And
And we're in the traffic jam.
this is absolutely contrary to my experience of being a David Dylan car. He's forever saying, excuse me, which way are you?
Well, I do, but you don't realise I've struggled with that for at least 10
Have you?
seconds.
Well, maybe you just show off because I'm there.
No, I
But
do
certainly,
that.
if we're in North London, where Dave feels is absolutely like his territory, quite,
It's my home
understandable.
turf.
Although there was a period, you may not remember this, when we first started living together, every time Dave drove me anywhere, I'd have to say, Dave, you're going to your old school. And he would just go on like he was on automatic pilot.
The North West London Jewish Day School in Willesden Green, of
But
course.
certainly when we've
Good to
driven...
hear a school get a shout out.
But when we've driven to Wembley and stuff like that,
Yeah.
there's a lot of... excuse which way are you planning to go?
That's true.
I've always found you as a man who gets in early.
Well, there's a film, I think is it Broadcast News, where
my
Holly...
favourite.
It's a brilliant film, where that's one of
Great
Holly
film.
Hunter's things,
Yes.
that she gets into cabs in New York and doesn't give them a chance, and just says, OK, can you take the tunnel and then go left and blah, blah, blah.
First thing she says, like
Yes.
me.
So you do that?
Oh, I get in. I say, which way are you planning on going?
Okay, so that's the point. Is Frank has at least given me the credit in terms of telling that story,
Yeah.
that it tends to involve me saying, hang on, which way are you going?
Right.
Now, that's the mistake, I think. It's better to just say, this is the way you have to go.
I say, which way are you going? But obviously, I'm about to tell them which way they're going.
Right, okay.
It's a rhetorical question, mate.
I got in the other week and said to a bloke, could you stick the cricket on, please? He said, what you say? What you say I am?
What you say? You
And
thought
I
you had
said, no,
insulted
could
him.
you stick the cricket on? He went, oh, I thought you say I stink. I said, really? Oh, my. Like I'd have got in and said, you stink, mate. But anyway, nevertheless.
Can you put the cricket on? That'll take my mind off the smell.
As if I would This bloke really turned. He could have, if I hadn't have cleared it up.
Keep that kind of feedback for the Uber rating, don't you?
I'm still wondering what the accent was, personally.
I
think it was Joe Dolce.
I did generic overseas.
Overseas person
Exactly,
who might smell.
Producer's got her head in her hands again.
I didn't ask where he was from, but I mean, the idea that I would ever say that to a person is scandalous.
It's quite likely.
I'm slightly worried now. I'm slightly worried now that he may have actually smelt and been defensive about it.
Would you remember, Dave, I used to have an Irish driver called Jerry?
Oh, God, yeah.
Well, an ex-girlfriend of mine got in the car, I remember, and said, "Oh, it smells lovely in here. Your car smells lovely, Jerry. What is it?" Said, "It's a Mercedes."
Do you remember, Frank? There was a bloke who we used to have driving us. What did we call him? Who we always knew he'd farted for maybe 20 minutes. What did we call him?
I really hate people like that.
But it really was extraordinary.
What do you do when you get in and it's when, like, I get in sometimes into the car and there's just an unpleasant sort of musty smell and garlicky.
But if you
I say, could you open the window, please?
If I sat in a close, as we're going to find out during the show, if I sat in a closed space for that long, it's impossible not to slightly marinate.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What a downer.
What it was like in Mitt Romney's car, I don't know.
It's Frank Skinner.
Frank is 10. Celebrating 10 years of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
David Baddiel is with us.
I was talking before the break, before the song, about these. Me and Frank, I don't know how this relates to your ordinary listeners, because they're jokes essentially about when we used to have drivers, dedicated drivers who used to drive us around. Yeah. But nonetheless, whether or not
I think they'll be happy to know that we don't anymore.
Yeah,
so there's some sense of
the bloke I called mate this morning is not a dedicated driver. Anyway, certainly not very dedicated to the way here. Anyway, I wanted to mention one other which Frank might remember is every so often we would find a bloke, perfectly nice bloke, but who was actually an actor. This would happen a couple of times. There would be someone who would tell us that he was a driver, but really it was just in between acting. And we had one bloke who sort of acted being a driver to prove what an actor he was. And the reason we knew this is that he got cut up at one point and he leant out the window, wound it down and shouted at the other driver, "Up yours," which is clearly an actor pretending to be a driver. Yeah.
And I also got in the car once.
So 70s.
And on the front of the dash, he had the stage and television today.
Oh, excellent.
Dear. I have to go, apparently, after this, Link, so I'm just going to mention one other thing which I wanted to bring up, which I think is a thing about coming on this show, which is I do think you talk about lots of things on this show, and I like to arrive full of this show. I know what all the back references are going to be or whatever. But unfortunately, you mentioned Mitt Romney just there, and I didn't understand what that was. I knew you talked about him, but here's the problem. Morwenna, my lovely partner, in fact, my lovely wife, she has got her family staying. Her brother, very nice, and her sister-in-law, all those people. And they're having polite conversations with me, and I want to say to them, "Shut up! I'm trying to listen to Frank's show so that I can do callbacks." But it's impossible to do that because they'd have to explain what a callback is.
They wouldn't understand.
Yeah, and it's impolite because...
You saying they're my partner, in fact, my wife reminds me, there used to be an old toast that used to say, "To my wife, the woman I love, may they never meet."
Oh, an old toast.
What's the play called so we can keep an eye out?
It's called God's Dice, which is what Einstein said. Einstein said, the universe, God does not play dice.
I have to say...
Einstein in front of him?
No, not like Einstein.
I'm all right with that. I have to say, some of my gang have tried to claim...
My gang?
Your lot?
Who is your gang?
To claim Einstein as one of theirs because he spoke of God.
He's quite clearly one of my lot.
Yes. Well, no, I mean non-believers.
I love Frank's gang.
Yeah,
Alec Jones, he's in your gang.
Yeah.
Alec Jones is in his gang?
Yeah.
Martin Freeman, who read the play, because we had a reading of the play before it, you have to have that and producers come to it and whatever. He read the play. He was brilliant, really brilliant in it, because there's a physics lecturer who gets involved in this sort of cult in it, this religious cult in it. He told me that he was a Catholic, one of your gang.
But that's nice,
but what he said to me is it would only take 5% of changing my ideas for me not to believe anymore. And I thought, well, that'll be the play. But it wasn't. He read the play and thought, oh, it's left me with all sorts of thoughts, but hadn't changed his ideas about belief.
Yes, well, I shall come and see them. Don't sit me next to Dawkins.
I won't do that. Apart from anything, he wears always a self-styled, colourful tie, doesn't he?
Oh,
and you won't know that.
I suspect he's a coloured sock man as well.
Yeah, definitely, he's a coloured sock man.
I need to sit next to the Dawkins. Yeah, you've had dinner with him, haven't you?
I have had dinner with him. He's a strange fellow. I mean, I agree with many things he says, but I still think he's a strange fellow, and absolutely I don't agree with the tie or the coloured socks. I mean, that's just
Well, I found him very, very... first of all, I said, so it must be strange for you. I interviewed him with a vicar. I said, it must be strange
I'd use a microphone next to you.
It just seemed appropriate. So anyway, I said it must be odd sitting with with a vicar, because presumably everything they say you're going to be thinking, oh, this is wrong. He said, what? I said, everything is. What are you saying? What are you saying? I can't understand what you're saying. And he just didn't know the accent.
Oh, really? It was the Black Country accent.
And I said, you need to get out and meet more working class people.
I actually feel sick, David.
That was at the start of the interview. So
God. And then he said, you stink.
He did say one thing. He showed me he had an album of his threatening letters and emails that he'd received, and one of them said, I hope you are run over by a church van.
That would take ages.
What is a church van?
I'm seeing a very slow, very sort of antique thing. It would take a long time.
How do they keep in it?
Surely even Richard Dawkins could run away.
I don't know if his running days are still with us. But anyway...
it's been a joy, obviously.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. Best of luck with the rest of it.
I will come
Quickly, Jill McHugh, have you ever tried on David's glasses, Frank?
Oh, yeah. Done comedy photos.
Okay.
Yeah, and he used to give me a monocle when I sang Richard Tauber's You Are My Heart's Delight. He used to use his glasses to provide the monocle.
If you like, Frank, we could do that. I'm going to walk round now to end this bit. If you want to sing that, I'll do it.
Yeah, we could film this.
We'll film this.
I'm glad that the way Emily had to tell the staff to film it, that's what we're up against.
Okay, so Richard Tauber, a very famous German tenor who your mum used to like.
Austrian.
Yes,
Austrian.
okay.
And he had a monocle and he used to sing this.
You're my heart's delight, and where you are, I long to be.
We'll
leave it there. It's essentially a visual gag. Yes, now getting around that.
With spectacles.
David, thank you so much for coming in. Good luck with your 900 children's books.
Thank you.
They are. It reminds me of when they asked John Noakes once. How that he could do all these jobs, that people. He said, "Well, it's just that I can learn in 10 minutes what people have spent years learning to do."
Right.
And you seem to have completely hit the ground running with the children's books. Well done on that.
Cheers.
Good luck with the play. I'll probably see you in the week.
Yeah. I'll see you later today.
After this big round-up.
Yeah.
Cheap guess.
I'll be coming around with a cold flannel later on.
No. Top Man. Actually, is Top Man still praise in the current
No, we
climate?
can't use Top Man anymore.
No.
That's
But
probably...
we love you, David.
Thank you very much. I love you all.
Thanks for coming.
We're going to go to a song.
We are.
Frank is 10.
Celebrating 10 years of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 8 12 15. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
That was nice to see David.
Lovely. Always nice to see David.
It was nice to see David.
He'll be bossing their driver around now.
Let's hope it's not the same one. That's going to be awkward.
No, I think
Is it mate?
Mate.
Look, mate. We were discussing these teenagers
Oh, the billboard things.
Oh.
who'd put their father's deets up
Yeah.
on a billboard outside New Jersey.
No one from the outside world sent in a news trope, did they, along the lines of the letter that arrives after 35 years or the billboard message?
Oh, I see.
Food,
No.
strange creature, rat in a crisp packet. Any of those?
We haven't had those, but
Because I'm sure there's some I haven't identified that other people will have seen.
Yes, I know what you mean. Well, we've given some examples, haven't we? But
This one reminds me a bit. I had a friend who worked for the post office, and he was a curmudgeon.
Oh, I like the sound of him.
Yeah. And he was delivering letters, and one of the letters said, "Mr. Postman, if you'd like to wish Susan a happy birthday, put your message here." Now, coincidentally, he used the same message that Paul Gascoigne used when Laurie McMenemy said, oh, no. Yeah, and he wrote that on the envelope and then put it to the person's door. I mean, he was...
Oh, dear.
He was a very funny man.
Did he lose his job?
No one knew, I think, that it happened, or no one. He lost his girlfriend because he went out with a woman called Alison Pierce. Have I told you this story before? I think this is okay, because it's not bad, but she was one of those sort of hippie girls with long, straight hair in a sort of Joni Mitchell kind of way.
Oh, yes, I know that.
But she had sort of what I would call Zoe Ball ears. Her ears sort of got quite big, sticking out. And... have you got any mirrors in the... we were on a holiday, and he sent her a postcard, and he wrote Miss A. Pierce, and then it suddenly occurred to him, and he put in brackets, Ape Ears. And she lived with her mum and dad, and when they saw the postcard, they said that she had to split up with him, so that was the end of their relationship.
Oh.
But
quite a sad story in a way.
I got This Is Your Life. Do you remember This Is Your Life?
I remember it happening.
Yeah, so
I do. It was at the London Palladium they surprised you.
That's right.
Well, I say surprised.
Yeah, well, I was actually surprised.
Okay.
And he was brought on as a person from my past, and he was an obsessive practical joker. And he came on and shook my hand, and I thought, what's that? And I looked down, there was a plastic spider in the palm. Just attention to detail. It really made me happy, I must say.
10 years of the Frank Skinner Show means nothing really. It's just an arbitrary number we humans have assigned to our own perception of time. But we're trying to make something of it. As a result, you're listening to 10 hours of Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
That was, who was that? Foo Fighters with Long Road to Ruin.
You can tell we're an hour 5. Frank's saying, who was that?
No, everyone knows who that
Sarah's
was.
getting her hand on the table as well.
I don't know.
The show.
Today of all day, she was playing Wrong Road to Ruin.
Faye's just disappeared. No,
Has she?
she's not. No, she's on
I hope
business.
not.
She's on official business. Can we talk about the Twa brothers then? The Billboard brothers.
The Billboard gang.
Put their dad's
Hate them.
phone number
I think
on this
putting
billboard in
someone's
New
phone
Jersey.
number anywhere public.
Saying, wish my dad happy birthday. Now, what I read about this is that this was apparently a callback. They didn't use that term. They don't know what a callback is, but it was a childhood joke where the sons would tell waiters regularly that it was their dad's birthday.
Oh,
and then
I
they'd bring a
see.
cake out, and apparently the boys would find this hilarious.
Oh, you mean when it wasn't his
Yes.
birthday?
Oh, that's quite fun.
Well,
The only time I've
it's
ever
also
been-
it's also fraud.
It is fraud, but I'm fine with fraud.
The only time I've ever been
I
tempted...
said that out loud. Sorry.
I went to a dolphin show, and if it was your birthday, the dolphin sang happy birthday. That's quite a temptation.
Yeah, you've
I
got to
was
have
that close to say it. It was because having dolphins sing happy birthday to you. Does it get any better than that?
No, not really.
Yeah, but you can't do that now, Frank. There's opportunities that are denied to you because of
Can't do the
Wikipedia.
accent.
No,
I thought you meant-
Wikipedia.
I thought you meant you're not allowed to do the
No,
accent.
you're not allowed to do dolphins.
On the subject of the song Happy Birthday, I'd
Can
like
we
to
even
bring...
mention dolphins if Matt Ford is in here?
he's in the building, actually. I think that could be
What are we
dangerous.
gonna
But sorry,
do?
you were saying?
We've got an email that I think is important to read on the birthday
Before you
edition
do
of
it,
today's
I've
show.
been
Yeah.
I've been in my laboratory
Oh, yeah.
In a lab coat.
working on a new email corner jingle.
You
Shall we?
haven't.
Do you want to hear it?
Shut up.
There you go.
Oh, I love that.
Lindisfarne.
Oh.
Yes.
Gazza liked them, didn't he?
He did a song with them, yeah.
Someone,
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Prisoner won 3.
You're
5 hours in.
Yeah.
I'm glad you went for that moment in his life rather than another one.
Catching up on the show via the podcast, and I heard the DME mention the most depressing song ever for her is There's No Business Like Show Business.
Oh, I can't bear it. It just makes me want to die.
I love it.
They continue.
I mean, it's so true.
You do
No.
love show business.
Al, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this is how I don't like it. Is
You
when I
aren't.
see school children singing it. No, but I need to explain to him. It's not Shirley Bassey or someone like that. It's school children going, there's no business like show business. If it's not performed correctly, it's terrible. Over to you, Alan.
Agreed. I'd like to throw another into the mix. This isn't me speaking, it's Prisoner 113. Happy birthday. Most people insist on singing it at an unacceptably slow pace with not a hint of happiness in their faces, as if chanting at some sort of cult ceremony. I try to bring up the pace with overzealous clapping to set a better speed, but I'm usually overruled by the age-old tradition of celebrating someone's new year on the planet with one long mumbly murmur. Praise redacted from Prisoner 113. How do we feel about
Ethel Murmur, who sang There's No Business Like Show Business.
it? All links, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know. When
say
they
you?
mention it, it's never occurred to me before. It does lack a bit of pace. Happy
It's a
birthday.
bit of a dirge, isn't it?
Yeah, you wouldn't normally sing a song at that pace.
Yeah.
Whenever it's sung to me, my method is to raise my arms
Oh, yeah.
in celebration. I find that the least embarrassing, like I've just stepped out of a capsule that's landed in the ocean, having done a spacewalk.
When we did the running thing on life hacks, where we were suggesting things for people to help them out in their life, you never told anyone that it's less embarrassing to hear happy birthday just with your arms aloft.
No, you're right. There you go. There you go, everyone. Suddenly, it looks like you're outdoing them on the celebration. Usually, you're having it done to you, but on this occasion, you're saying yes. This is correct.
That's great advice, Frank.
We've got another special guest coming up in a minute.
Oh, and Twinkies have arrived for us in the lobby.
Special guest and Twinkies simultaneously.
We've gone American.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes, that is the sound of a ukulele, which means this must be 10 hours of Frank Skinner on Absolute
The reason
Radio.
there's giggles in the background is one of the world's funniest men is with us in the studio, Tim Key. Hello, Tim.
Hello, Frank. Hello, everyone.
Hi, Tim.
Hello, Emily.
Thank you for coming
Hi,
in
Tim.
today. We don't normally have guests, but
Sorry,
when we
hello, Alan.
Should we do some more hellos?
when we do have guests, it tends to be Tim Key. I think that's a general
And David
rule.
Baddiel,
And
the
David
two.
Baddiel, we've had
Oh,
them
he's
both.
putting them on. He's putting the cans on. I was worried.
Over the baseball hat.
Do you want me to put it under?
No!
Try.
Frank,
See if it works.
Tim is polishing off the Savoy and chips.
I was
No, it doesn't
concerned because he had a mouthful of battered sausage and didn't have his headphones on as Frank turned up his fader, and I was thinking he's not ready for this at all.
Well, as he pointed out, it's not very intense. The radio.
He did.
It's
Just
a
been
nice
sort of
play.
swimming around in the studio for 15 minutes with you trying to give me a chocolate.
Well, it's an anniversary show.
I was trying to work out what you were broadcasting.
Well, here's the thing, Tim. I was thinking about this today. I thought Tim Key's Tim Key, and I've never asked you this, and I have no evidence that it's correct, but I've always assumed on one level that you're really good at table tennis.
Oh, right. Which level?
Well, but it's true.
Extraordinary thing you've ever
What's
said
true?
about
To a
anyone.
point where I associate you, I always think.
Associate me with table tennis.
If you suddenly said to me, let's have a game of table tennis.
I wouldn't do it suddenly.
I would not
I'd soften you up.
I would not be thinking of money being involved because I think I was onto a hiding.
Is
I
this
would
true?
What is what Frank's speculation that I'm good at table
Yes.
tennis? County level.
He's a better footballer than you'd expect. I will say that for Tim.
I
don't know what he
worried,
expects.
I'm worried about the you'd expect.
Yeah.
That's a slap in the face.
No, he's good.
Are you good at table tennis?
No.
I don't know what to believe when Tim Key speaks.
No,
No.
I'm not very good at table tennis. I once played table tennis in Montenegro.
Okay. As an international representative?
No, as a brother playing against my brother.
Oh, it's an anecdote.
Oh.
Well, I'm trying to turn it into one.
I love a Montenegrin anecdote.
This is
I
no
need to think
place.
if anything happened.
This
Hang
is
on.
no place for work in progress.
Oh, yeah, so that's it, I think. Let me just do it one more time. Yeah, I went to Montenegro and I played table tennis with my brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
Montenegro was a country that I always assumed was in Central America. For years
Did
I
you?
believed it. And then suddenly...
Well, no, not suddenly. It was always in Europe.
Well, okay.
Always Europe.
But then suddenly England were playing Serbia and Montenegro, and I thought, well, how have those two got together? It's ridiculous travel implication. You know, when you see like Martina Navratilova playing with someone who is not that good at tennis, and you think, how did...
Wogan.
Someone a bit county level table tennis.
Who was her mixed doubles guy? Peter
Leach. Fleming.
Fleming.
Oh, I thought it was Purvis.
And not him. Former Doctor Who companion.
Well, but that's the thing with doubles, isn't it? Some of them are double specialists.
Yes.
Because McEnroe wasn't exactly playing, with Billie Jean King, was he? He was playing with Shriver.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. But it's that moment where you have to imagine going up to Martina Navratilova and saying, would you mind being my mixed doubles partner? And she's looking at you and thinking, how dare you?
But that's
ranked 178.
Jamie Murray does that all the time. He's sort of, sidles up to these people.
He's steeled himself to it now.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
But there must be some payback on that, surely. But I wouldn't... It's like if I said to you, why don't we do a double act?
Yes, okay, I'd love to.
Oh.
Would you?
I'd do a double act with Frank.
Are the mics
Yeah.
on?
Well, Frank wrote to Alan Bennett once, didn't you, darling?
I asked if he'd want to write a play with me.
It's a shame.
Did he?
He wrote back. He wrote a very nice letter and said, "I'm not very good at co-writing,
and I'm
things.
very good at single writing.
Very good at writing on my own, whereas you have no experience whatsoever. Furthermore, who are you?"
And did you write back? Were you tenacious? Did you write again?
No, I wasn't at all
They're
tenacious.
still pen pals, actually.
It was one of those.
20 years.
But it's now.
When I heard it,
no.
When I heard it land in the post box, I already regretted it. And nothing he said changed that.
Absolute Radio presents 10 hours of Frank Skinner. He only came to Absolute Radio on a 3-month contract, and 10 years later, he still won't sign it. Happy 10th anniversary, Frank, from Absolute Radio.
Tim, not as good at table tennis as you thought. Key is with us.
I'm not bad
You're
at
not
table
gonna
tennis.
announce
Oh, now you're you're climbing down. Now you've made me look a liar.
Yeah.
So,
Are you good at table tennis, Frank?
not really, but I do like. I use the pen holder.
Yep. What's the pen holder?
It's
the grip.
It's a grip where you hold it more like a pen than a table tennis.
Oh, like the Chinese use.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah, but I don't like that because I have the hold knife like pen issue.
I do know that. Yes, I'm a
Okay.
regular listener.
So
thank
I don't
you.
like the hold table tennis like pen either.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Now, you're currently on air.
Right. Is that you plugging that?
No,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that so you don't swear.
All right. Okay.
No, yes, Alan Partridge.
Yes.
You're now a key element. You are sort of.
Key element.
You are. Yes.
Did it.
I didn't even know I'd done
Did
it.
it?
I mean,
Frank, that'd be a great autobiography.
Key element.
What other things can he do?
All right. Okay.
Unlocking Tim
my
Key.
life as a turn.
Oh, he has to do. Yeah.
But anyway, you're the sort of Sid James now. Would you say to Steve Coogan's?
It's a good job it's radio. That was a
Hancock.
heck of a face.
Do you know what I mean? You've become integral.
Yeah. Well, I've been in the last sort of 2 incarnations,
Yeah.
and now I think they're making a few sort of documentaries, like a different type of thing.
Right.
And I'm not in that, so I'm not integral.
Oh,
I'm integral.
What have we got you on?
Yeah, I'm quite disposable.
Can I
think
say you
that-
are brilliant in it as well? I love
Yeah, very good. And you play a
Hang
sort
on,
of...
that's less than brilliant. What you said.
yeah. Well, I said nothing.
So nothing
it's-
very good.
It's
Brilliant.
like, you know that chart you get of the ascent of man,
Yeah.
with a creature on all fours. and
I'm
stuff
not a
like-
creature.
No, but I'm on about what was said about you is
Oh,
the
yeah, sure.
creatures. Yeah, so, well, it's massive. You don't have to praise
No.
Alan Partridge. It's beyond that.
Have you seen it?
No.
I have. Yeah.
I have.
It's very good.
They have. And I
Yeah.
said, make sure you talk about it. I didn't think I'd be
They
asked
have.
directly. I never
But it
thought
was
for a
just so
second
it
you'd
was
ask
so
me directly.
clear in your eyes.
Oh, sorry.
You had about half the amount of enthusiasm for the Alan Partridge chat than you had for the table tennis one.
Well, I haven't
Is
seen
that,
you-
is that why you brought the table tennis up, to avoid Partridge? If you could get 20 minutes out of
I
that.
have to leave the studio. I can't. This level of honesty
this is
is
embarrassing.
making me sick.
I thought I
it's
could
fine.
talk about something
Yeah,
else.
I've walked in here. I've
Tim do.
cycled down from my house, come in here to discuss my Alan Partridge role, and then I get these dead eyes asking me about table tennis.
Look, I think it was me.
Look.
You cycled.
Alan and Emily.
That's
have
not the
seen
point
it.
I'm trying to make, Alan.
Oh, I thought that
Alan
was
and
exactly the
Emily
point.
have seen it, and I think it was Meatloaf who said
Who saw it?
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
That's not
good
bad,
point.
actually.
He also
Yeah.
said I'd do anything for love, but I won't do that.
And they both said to me that they loved it. I didn't know Alan was going to step down a step on the podium.
You're very good.
Very good.
That's
Can
the
I
same.
say, I don't want this entire sort of show with Tim just to be a review of the last 3 minutes.
No.
Right.
But nevertheless, I like to think I stood firm on that podium.
Yeah, you did
Okay,
actually.
I didn't let you down.
You said brilliant, and then you doubled down on it and said brilliant. Alan went brilliant, dropped to very good, and Frank has forgotten what
Well,
we're talking about.
you knocked my confidence with you not being in the specials revelation.
You prefer my live stuff.
I do, actually.
Your live stuff
I
is
always
great,
prefer
too.
your live stuff. I started by describing you as the funniest man in the world.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
a bad start, is it?
That's
After me,
nice, dear,
obviously.
isn't it?
No, that is nice, actually.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question to change the subject?
Yeah,
Did you and Frank go on holiday once?
once, yeah.
Okay. No further questions.
Yeah, we went to
On,
the World Table Tennis Championships in Peking.
Do you want us to? Do you want me to tell you where we went?
Yeah.
Cologne.
Of course you did.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be, I think, 6 of us going on a sort of holiday at the end of Taskmaster.
Yeah, it was a Taskmaster. What did I say? So you said
It's
Taskmaster.
like a
and I just-
Taskmaster social.
Taskmaster reunion.
Yeah. And then everyone dropped out.
Yeah. And
And
what-
then-
Josh Widdicombe.
This is quite good. Me and Josh met at a station. And we met going to Luton Airport to meet you. And we met before we'd met you. And it was supposed to be me, Roisin, Romesh, Josh, you, Alex and Greg. And Josh was looking very forlorn, shook his head and said, well, this was supposed to be 7 of us going on a jolly, and now it's just me and you taking a 50-year-old man to Germany.
I'm just thinking when it was. I'm happy with the 50.
Yeah, take that.
Celebrating 10 years of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with 10 hours of Frank.
Absolute Radio.
So, got anything else you want to...
He wants to discuss his jumper, he told me.
Okay. Now, I should say Tim's jumper has got 2 foxes jumping over a radioactive isotope.
We've put it on social
description.
media if you want to have a look at it. It's currently on our Twitter and Instagram pages.
Is it, or is
very
it an
fetching.
alien thing that's landed?
I think you should stick to your initial.
Oh, hold on, I haven't turned you
Hold
on.
on.
Sorry, darling.
Well, I'm not saying that again.
Sorry, darling. Sorry, darling.
I'm
They're
not
very close. They've holidayed together.
Ah, yes.
It was a bit strange.
Frank calls Tim darling and Tim calls Frank Mr. Skinner. It's really close.
And me and Josh call Frank Grandpa.
And you know what? I don't mind.
I liked it. It was very Ian McKellen and Derek Jacobi. Okay.
We went out for dinner, didn't we, in Cologne? Do you remember?
Didn't we get... we finally persuaded Alex Horn to come over, and he said he'd had the worst pizza he'd ever had in his life. He was only in Cologne for like 2 hours.
So it's you, Alex Horn, Josh Widdicombe.
Me, Josh, and Frank for one evening, and then thankfully Alex came and sort of broke things up a little bit.
Yeah.
Another youngster.
We had an apartment. Exactly.
Frank was the only non-redhead.
I'm not a redhead.
You are?
Red bearded.
Red
It
beard.
was Henry VIII. Lovely.
Yeah, but that lower part of my head. The top
Okay,
part
okay,
of my
dear.
head's brown.
Okay.
I think it still counts as redhead.
Well, it's your head.
Yeah.
Thanks, Frank.
Okay. you can see how tense it was in Cologne. I mean, we just sat and colour-coded each other.
There was a mouse in the restaurant.
There wasn't.
Do you remember that, Frank?
I don't.
I don't like the idea of that.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't one of the great holidays.
No.
We went to a
Frank
bridge
said it
where
was
there's
the
lots
best time of his life.
Well, it was the best of his life, yeah.
Yeah.
No disputing that.
For you, it was worse than that 11-hour wait, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I don't normally like holidays, but they're different when you go with other people. Yeah, there was a bridge with a lot of padlocks on it.
Padlocks,
Oh, yeah.
Which represented relationships.
It's just where people make wishes. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, well, you're anti-wishes, I know.
Actually, joking aside, it was a really great 24 hours.
Uh-huh.
Well, I loved Cologne Cathedral.
I like
yeah.
that. That's your review of Frank Skinner. My night with Frank Skinner.
And also, we got lost in Cologne, and so Tim asked for directions in Russian, and it worked.
Brilliant. Yeah, that was to see Frank's eyes when I did that was a real treat.
It was amazing.
I went up in his estimations. That probably was where you got the table tennis stuff from.
It probably was.
This
yeah.
guy can do
I
anything.
think he automatically put you up a level of every single
the
thing.
Russian just dropped off him.
Brilliant.
Oh, say
amazing.
something Russian, Tim.
Yeah.
Ну, что ты хочешь, что я сказал?
What does that mean?
What do you want me to say?
Oh, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And I used...
It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Say
That's
something.
it. That was English. Mm-hmm.
and I used Vi kommer ich am besten zum die Kirche.
What does that mean?
And that worked.
What's the best way to the
What's the
cathedral?
best way to the church? Yeah, so I didn't actually know cathedral, but I thought she'd work that out for
I
us.
think I could probably say, извините, пожалуйста, где собор?
But they were German, most of the
Really?
people in Germany.
I feel
much luck with the
I feel
Russian
like this is what it would be like to have a partner on Strictly Come Dancing.
I'm not
Weirdly,
going to go off with Frank.
we've weirdly just got loads of texts I can't read since Tim started speaking Russian. I don't know what that's all about.
Well, are they mainly threatening? How long have we got left?
About a minute.
Okay.
So, the jumper.
Yes.
Yeah,
Really?
so why Two Foxes Radioactive
Well, I
Oyster?
don't know, it was a gift, but I went and did a...
From who?
Oh,
a
it
member of
doesn't
the
matter,
Illuminati.
Emily. Doesn't matter. Alex Horn.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And I went and did an audition last week, and I got feedback
Oh, yeah.
through my agent, and I had to go back in again to do the audition again with a different jumper.
Oh, dear.
Was that really the feedback?
The feedback was that I was a sort of cartoon character person, and it wouldn't do. So I had to go back in again and go in with a shirt.
Wow.
And I was like, what then my jumper's fine, because I was wearing this jumper that I thought was fine. Then I
Yeah.
suddenly remembered it was this jumper that I'd gone in with.
Oh, yeah.
I would say it's quite a strong statement.
It's
a
not a
statement
banker, is
jumper.
it? It's not a job interview jumper.
No, but I
It's
don't
a
think
statement
I'd put
jumper,
it,
and
I
the
don't
statement
think
is,
it'd
I don't
put me
care.
off hiring someone.
No.
Yeah,
so-
You're currently wearing a pink jumper featuring my Shih Tzu.
Yes, that's true.
So,
Can I say, by the way, can we have a small island before I thank Tim
Sure.
for coming on? I read Emily's book this week, right?
Oh.
Which is called Everybody
Great.
Died, and So I Got a Dog.
yes.
I am not kidding you. And I'm not saying this because it's my friend. It completely blew me away. It is brilliantly written, a brilliant story.
He hasn't read it.
I'm not joking.
It's another Partridge.
I mean, no.
Oh, Frank.
I'll get around to Partridge. But
Yeah, let him talk
I'm
more
not-
about this.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I'm not kidding.
Enough of you.
If you don't... Anyone who's listening to this, please read it. Because if you don't read it, you are missing out on a very brilliantly written, funny, sad, everything book. God, it blew me away. And when I read it, this is how much I liked it. The fact that I was in it stopped mattering after a while. And I wasn't even looking forward to the next me section. That's how good it was. And that's saying something with a
That
man
is
of my
praise on high.
enormous ego.
I'll second that.
well
I thought
done,
it was,
Emily.
It was absolutely fantastic, I thought.
You haven't read it.
Nowhere near it. Didn't know you had one.
Frank,
Trust
thank you
me,
so
I mean
much.
it. It's honestly, Tim, it's
Should I-
knockout.
Have you got one with you?
I have actually.
Right.
15
look-
quid.
So look, now I could not go without saying that because it's brilliant. Listen, Tim, thank you so much. It's always such a joy to see you.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's always lovely to see you.
And
in England.
are you doing Edinburgh this year?
No.
Oh,
Are you?
Are you
Yes.
singing Savaloy?
Are you?
Yeah, I've gone stand-up crazy.
Are you doing the whole thing?
I'm doing an autumn tour.
And what, a solo? act?
Tickets go on sale this Friday.
Wow.
I'm in.
doing Britain and beyond.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cologne he's
Right.
doing.
Maybe I will do it.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
What is a double act thing as well?
Yeah. Then you'll have a little buddy up there.
We could do like an on-plan thing.
Oh, God.
Wowee.
Anyway, look.
David Baddiel's just
awkward.
texted Frank.
So look, it's great to see you, Tim. Thank you. I'm going to go off on my own now, which is a bit sad.
Good luck
I'm
out
going to
there.
go and see the two Matts.
Enjoy yourself.
Yeah, beer and what were the other?
Welcome.
I've already used welcome. I used welcome and bath last time.
What
That's
are you
right.
gonna do?
I'll think of another one. So look, so thanks to Tim, Al and Emily. I love you. Sarah and Faye, the backroom boys. I love you. Obviously, not quite as much, but still a lot. And up next is rock and roll football with Frank Skinner added this week.
Celebrating 10 years of Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with 10 hours of Frank.
Absolute Radio.